All right. What's up, everybody? Free China Pod, episode 13. Unlucky 13, so we gotta get this one out of the way. But, we're doing what we're doing. Ari's here. Hi, Ari.
Hi.
Hi, buddy. How's life?
It's okay. I'm tired.
You just got back.
Yeah, pretty much. I ate a lot today. And, this was not the best bus ride I've had. I'd say this is probably one of the worst bus rides I've had in a little while.
Why was traffic so hot?
I guess Friday night, man. I haven't taken a Friday night bus in a minute. Like, Saturday buses are good, Sunday buses are good, Wednesday, Thursday buses are good, but Friday buses just suck, apparently.
Nah, it is what it is. You're here now. That's the main thing.
I'm here. Slept a little bit, but most of the time I was just watching YouTube, having the bus vibrating like crazy because they're so low quality.
At least we have good public transportation here. It's cheap, too.
Low IQ Kellyanne Conway.
Low IQ. So yeah, what we saved it for the pod. What's newsworthy
I mean, you've already heard, right?
about Cohen?
About Cohen. About the implications that he's putting on Donald Trump right now.
Yeah. So rundown of the situation for our guests, our 6 listeners. Let them know what's up.
Apparently, he's alleging that Donald Trump, during the time when he was already an active candidate for president of the United States, was soliciting Russian leaders and Russian business people and perhaps Putin himself for a business deal that would have put a Trump hotel in Moscow.
Yeah.
And Michael Cohen himself was involved in offering a $50 million penthouse to Putin himself, allegedly. But it's not clear whether Donald Trump was involved with that, but I don't see how you could have a $50 million penthouse for sale in a building owned by someone and the owner of that building wouldn't know.
Yeah, that seems unlikely, but yeah. I feel like to anyone paying moderate attention, that seems pretty obvious though, because look at what Trump did with the whole, in Saudi Arabia. He opened multiple new businesses in Saudi Arabia during the campaign.
Yeah, that's why he's sucking MBS's turban.
He's giving him that good turban. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's pretty untenable. Okay, honestly, right now, look at everything that's involved that he's accused of, basically. So his own son is accused of holding a meeting with. Not accused. He admits that he held a meeting with a Russian operative, basically to try and get illegal information on the Hillary Clinton campaign, and then he supposedly didn't tell his father, and Donald Trump was completely unaware.
That happened.
Michael Cohen was involved in paying off of prostitutes, involved in trying to get a business deal for the Russians to build a Trump Tower in Moscow, and Donald Trump was completely unaware of the entire process. Roger Stone was involved in the WikiLeaks leaking of the Russian hacked emails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump talked about it in the days leading up to the leak, basically.
Yeah.
And he claims again that he didn't know anything about it. So either he has all these people who are so close to clear criminal activity, and he's just completely so inept as a leader and as a human being that he doesn't talk to them, he doesn't mention it, and he has no idea what's going on around him, or he's lying about all of these, and he's just a criminal. And the truth is probably both. He's
clearly inept. I mean, we read on the last episode we read his
He's inept,
speech.
but he also probably knew about all of these things to some
yeah.
extent.
I mean, there was the tape before of him with Cohen.
Yeah, and he's also proven to be a liar about this. The Stormy Daniels thing. Well, at first he didn't know, and then I knew about it, but only after, and then no, I knew, but Michael was taking care of it, and I promised that I wanted to keep it on the records. I mean, the story changes every time new information comes to public light.
Yeah.
And not only this, why if there was no conflict of interest with the Russians, why did he wait until Michael Cohen in an indictment released that information before talking about it instead of coming clean beforehand?
Yeah.
He this is something that he's been hiding, and he's been hiding it for deliberate reason.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly. I mean, and if you want to talk about like lying, I mean, you can look at who is it? There's a guy on Washington Post.
Jared Kushner.
I think I don't remember his name. I listened to a podcast with him recently, but he tracks all of Trump's lies. And basically Trump lies like anywhere from, or makes false claims like anywhere from like around, it's an average of like 8 times a day, I think. I have to look at the number again, but he's lied like some 4,500 something times since he took office. So of course he's a liar. Like anyone that doesn't see that he's a liar right now is either kidding themselves or they're just you're a stupid person.
They're deluded.
Yeah, I mean it's probably different things for different people. There are probably some people that don't care, and there are probably some people that you know want to obfuscate that or don't want to pay attention because they don't want to think that he's a liar. But there are definitely some stupid people that wouldn't.
Either that or they think that he's selling. I mean, to me, it gets more and more like 1984, basically, with this doublespeak and this like coded language, basically, where nothing really means anything, and you just kind of, for some of these people, their conception of what's true or not changes depending on what their leader says.
Yeah, fake news, alternative facts, these sorts of like very Orwellian terms.
Those things. I mean, the way that I think he thinks about it is more like a conspiracy theorist thinks about things that the world isn't what it seems, and the government isn't like what it pretends to be, and that there's all these secrets and this undercurrent going on.
Well, I think there are definitely things that happen behind the scenes. I mean, there are some things that people would call conspiracy theories that I could like at least think maybe happened.
There are, but what I consider to be Orwellian is way deeper than that. Orwellian, like in a 1984 sense, is a conception of truth that's. It's not about there being an alternative set of facts and truth. It's that there is no objective truth. That truth is completely subjective, and it's based on whatever the government or whoever your leader is tells you it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of things too in 1984 that's just like basically reversing the meaning. I mean, the meanings of words. Like the whole premise, or not the premise, but like the catchphrase of that book is like, you know, what war is peace.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, I know what you're saying. Double speak.
Yeah, double speak, all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. That's the thing. It's kind of become that. The quote is, after all that time, the quote is, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength." So, but yeah. Anyway, it's a lot of manipulation of terms, but it's also just like everything is like. They're just like the blatant lying is like the thing that's like most striking to me, and the fact that like bless you.
Thank you.
The thing that it just doesn't get called out almost at all anymore.
Well, who's gonna call them out on it? Let's see.
The news media, I would hope.
I mean, they do in a lot of.
They're getting better at it.
They do in a lot of circumstances, but the people that they're calling him out to are people that already know he's a liar. It's like.
To some degree, and I think other politicians could do a better job. Both the few Republicans that actually oppose Trump, and I don't know, a lot of the never Trumper Republicans don't do it in the right way. They basically want to shame him for like the way he talks. Like they're more mad about the way he tweets than exactly. It's all decorum, which you can argue to some degree like that a decorum is somewhat important, but I think for the most part
it is, man. He's tarnished the presidency.
But I think the decorum thing is like people are like, oh, like bad words. Like I don't like bad words. I don't like mean tweets. And I think that stuff is people need to get over that. Like that's done. Like we shouldn't worry about people saying bad words. Yeah, of course you should.
It's not that. It's the dog whistles and racism.
Well, yeah, but that for a lot of the Republicans, they're also very racist, or at least they're xenophobic. So that's not what it is. It literally is. It's literally, I don't like mean tweets. I don't like the way you attack this person. Or, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like that you used a curse word. Like, there was literally an attack ad from Hillary Clinton launched against Trump that was literally just him, like, saying bad words. And they're like, is this what you want your children to hear? Like, no. That's stupid.
Okay, I mean, it was obviously targeted. Donald Trump is listen, I mean, this is the Senate, this is the presidency of the United States. These are the highest offices of public elected power
Yeah, it's
in the entire world.
It's obviously
And you have
the
a-
most powerful person in the world.
Retarded used car salesman who fucks prostitutes and has people piss on him for money.
Allegedly.
It's not alleged.
Allegedly. We don't know if in the argument
Okay,
wasn't
he
the argument.
cheated on his first
He's-
imported whore wife.
He's cheated on his wives, that's for sure. Also, the whole Russian thing was not that he had the women piss on him. The whole thing was that they pissed on the bed. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry I cut you off. I just don't want to get sued by our 6 listeners.
It just tarnishes the complete lack of decorum. It tarnishes the credibility and the durability of the institutions when you turn the presidency of the United States into a Russian piss whorehouse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally on board with what you're saying. But I don't think that's.
With an imported trophy wife, and her anchor babies.
Yeah, but that I would agree with that. But my thing that I get mad about is when people get mad about him saying bad words and things like that. But yeah, I agree with you. He's totally tarnished the presidency, 100%.
It's not only him. I mean, this has been going on for a long time now. The complete lack of decorum. This is why everybody hates the Congress, and this is why
The
most
reason why
now
people
hate
hate
Donald Trump.
well, the reason people hate the Congress, let's be real, is because they don't represent the people anymore. They represent companies. It's an oligarchy. The United States has become an oligarchy, and people may not totally understand the way that works, but they're fed up with it, and they know that it's hurting them. They've seen that their paychecks haven't changed since the 1980s, so of course they're upset about that.
Anyway, the Senate has taken a pretty decent stance with their withdrawal of support for the Yemen conflict.
Oh man, I really hope they get out of that. We have
You
to.
saw how it passed, man. Donald Trump
What,
wanted to stay in
They
that
got
shit.
63 votes in favor.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good, man.
a bunch
It's
of
good.
Republicans flipped,
It's good.
including Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump's new
Lap-
best friend.
Little lapdog.
Yeah, he said, I'm pissed about how the administration's handling this.
Well, I tell you, I just don't know what I'm gonna do with this president. He's just about.
Man, I want to see who fucking switched their vote on that, the Republican side. I mean, listen. I mean, you look like a shitbag when you. The Senate of the United States asked Gina Haspel to be there to defend
Yep.
basically the assessment that the CIA made. And Donald Trump refused to let his own official fucking go to this thing.
Well,
And then sits there and sends his pocket pussy, Mike Pompeo.
Yeah, and I hate Gina Haspel. She's torture queen. She tortures people. She's pretty much
Gina Haspel oversaw the memo that directly contradicts what Donald Trump says to be the truth, because Donald Trump doesn't care about the truth, and he doesn't even have the balls to admit that he doesn't care. He's buying into the lie of the Saudi regime rather than admitting that he cares more about money than human rights and American values.
Well, but he's done that over and over again. He did that with the Russian killing of journalists. He'll just take the other people's side, and
Yeah, because he has no courage.
Yeah.
And he doesn't believe in America, and he doesn't love America. He loves himself.
Yeah, he doesn't love anybody or anything other than himself and his image.
I don't even think he loves his children.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think
If he loved his children, he would have resigned so that Donald Trump Jr. doesn't spend the next 50 years in prison.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the only child he truly loves is Ivanka because he wants to have sex with her.
No comment.
And that's not that's not even a love thing. I think that's just he wants to have sex with his daughter, allegedly.
Probably because she looks like him.
I don't know that she looks a ton like him, but yeah, that's fair enough.
That's from his first imported trophy whore wife.
I don't think you should attack his wives. Apparently, she was instrumental in running his businesses. From
So if she hadn't been there, his business would have collapsed, and he wouldn't have been where he is today.
would have collapsed more. Clearly he went bankrupt 6 times. The guy is incompetent. He's a buffoon. He's not capable of doing anything.
Question. So you shouldn't give her any credit because she's created this monster.
Whatever the.
Yeah, but Ivanka have more. I enjoy I can get behind going after her more. with some of his older wives, it's just like, all right, they're
What do you
done.
mean? That's his, which one are you talking? I'm talking about Ivana, the first trophy whore wife who he impregnated to have. Who was it? Ivanka, who he named
Yeah.
after his wife in a really bizarre, sexually twisted fashion.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, they often
Who
kids are
else?
named after their parents, but he's
Usually
definitely
not girls, and not with like a slight twist like that. Especially when they're like Slavic immigrants,
It's true.
Ivana and Ivanka.
it's true.
Like it's not even like named after her. It's just named close to her, like a little carbon copy, with just
Yeah.
slight differences and a fresher skin. I don't know who
It's weird,
who
man.
he had most of his kids with. I know the second one, Martha Maples. He had Tiffany, the other forgotten one.
Oh yeah, he hates Tiffany. Like he didn't even like he wishes like all his kids a happy birthday on like Twitter and stuff, and like he didn't. I think I don't know if it was last year or he never wishes her a happy birthday because
Martha
he
Maples
hates her.
called them out for raping her.
Mhm.
So, a big surprise. Martha Maples is the only one who didn't need a green card out of him.
It's true, and
So-
but then she went back on it later.
Yeah, because he probably did the same thing like Stormy Daniels,
Yeah.
just threatened
Gave
her in a
bunch-
parking lot
Well,
somewhere.
and also probably gave her a bunch of money.
I'd probably threaten Tiffany too, but we're just speculating now.
Yeah, this is all obviously speculation, but
And then the third one, Melanie. That's her name, right? That's what Donald Trump thinks it is. Do you remember that?
no.
He put it on Twitter one time. He wrote Melanie
Oh
instead of
yeah.
Melania.
Actually, I do remember
Doesn't
that.
know the name of his own fucking wife.
Well, because he doesn't care about her, and like they probably haven't had sex in like 7 years.
I don't know if they've ever had sex. I don't think he's capable of maintaining an
This,
erection.
this Stormy Daniels said they did, so
This was in 2006, Jordan.
it's true. But that's you know.
Oh yeah, that was actually when she was pregnant with Baron.
Yeah.
His
So
sad alter ego.
yeah.
I like how he turned his sad alter ego into an inbred son.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing that he did there. It's that is actually mind blowing for anyone that doesn't know about that. Like Trump used to call into like talk shows and morning shows and pretend.
Oh, this one was Forbes. He called
He-
Forbes.
I
so
think he
could
called
get on the list.
he called multiple people, but yeah, he would call in and like say that his name was Barron what.
John Barron.
John Barron, that's right. He would say, "Oh, my name's John Barron," and he would basically talk about like there was one like where he said like he was dating Madonna, and like he would also say like he was worth like $1 billion and like all this stuff. Basically, just calling these talk shows, and you can clearly tell from the recordings that it's Trump because he has he's such a noticeable character, and he would just like lie and be like, "Oh yeah." My client Trump is like this smart guy, like he's so good. And it's
You know what the
just,
clearest thing too is that he rambles. Even in the 1980s, he rambled in the same incoherent, semi-retarded fashion that he does now.
just he's Trump. He's so smart. He's big smart, super smart. It's just yeah.
The way he talks, since the one that I heard was when he called into Forbes, trying to be John Barron and trying to give false evidence that he was one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah.
Even though at the time he didn't almost have any personal wealth, it was all held in his father's account.
Mm.
And 1982, he talked almost the same way that he talked in the debates in 2016,
Yeah.
2017 after he unfortunately became president.
Yeah. Well, with some of this new stuff coming out, and did you heard Deutsche Bank just got raided, right?
No, I didn't hear that.
Deutsche Bank got raided, and they're basically like the only people that would give Trump a loan after all of his financial failings and like bankruptcies. So Deutsche Bank is like gave him a loan, and
They got raided by who in investigation of
the
what?
FBI.
Because I mean, banks get raided all the time for tax fraud and stuff. So did it have to do with with the Mueller investigation?
I think it's still like they're not exactly sure.
Interesting. Well, hopefully they get some good stuff. Hopefully all the good stuff is gonna come out soon. I'm excited. It's an exciting time.
It's absolutely an exciting time. I think what for the Deutsche Bank thing, what people were saying that it is probably getting raided for is because of the Panama Papers.
What about them?
You know, just because like basically they were involved in that, and, like they had like evidence of like money laundering stuff. So, for anybody that doesn't know what the Panama Papers are, basically it's just like rich people hold their wealth in this company in Panama.
It should be held past tense, right? Or do they still hold it?
I think maybe I don't know. I'm not sure if they still hold it there or if it was before. But the company is Mossack Fonseca. I don't know how to say the name. It's obviously Spanish, I guess. But basically, like they allege a lot of it's basically just all these people like basically tax dodging over there. So it showed like a lot of
Putin affiliates were involved in that.
there was literally I think it was like hundreds of countries that were involved in this, like people from hundreds of countries, not necessarily the countries themselves, but yeah, Russian oligarchs for sure. And there was argument that like maybe even Putin himself was involved in those things. So it's really, really interesting. And there's there's a couple of documentaries coming out about that, which should be like actually quite good. So, but
Be informative.
yeah, so I think that's what they got raided over, and there was another raid.
On Stormy Daniels' house.
Probably.
No? I think so.
Oh no, one of Trump's attorneys got raided.
Which one? This was recent?
It's just happened.
I'm glad to hear it.
Okay, so the Trump attorney that was raided was Ed Burke. So he represented Trump on property tax issues between 2006 and 2018. Thursday in the U.S., Ed Burke was raided. He's a Chicago alderman, and basically they don't know if it has anything to do with Trump right now, but like they papered up the windows and like raided his whole spot. So I don't know. These two, I mean, obviously, like the Deutsche Bank thing could have nothing to do with Trump, and this Ed Burke thing could have nothing to do with Trump. But regardless, they obviously both of them have had very close ties to Trump. So even if the raids themselves were not directly connected to Trump, they could bear out information about Trump, and then.
I think this was very bad for Trump, honestly.
Well, yeah.
This whole thing. I honestly was of the belief that there wasn't any hard evidence that he had any significant ties to Russia. And after all the claims that he made, for this to come out shows that there's something going on. There's 100%, man. This is so clear to me. The fact that this was covered up until now, that he knew. I mean, the first thing he should have done, if there was nothing going on and he was actually soliciting business after he already won the nomination for the Republican Party and he was a candidate for president of the United States, he should have come forward and said that this was the case. The fact that he didn't means that he was covering it up. This is the beginning of the end of his presidency.
I really hope so. The only problem that I see is that it might be too late. It's looking more and more like that there won't be a second term, almost certainly now.
Well, then it's still the beginning of the end, man. This will tarnish it, and this might make him a lame duck. I mean, basically, if he loses credibility, he could end up resigning. I mean, if this gets too deep.
The good thing is that, like we said earlier, with the Syrian thing, it's looking more and more like some of the Republicans are standing up against them. And I'm not going to give the Republicans almost any credit, but hopefully that some of those...
Because, it's shocking. The Republicans have stood for human rights and pushing American values abroad. I mean, not only the Republicans, but particularly the Republicans since at least the Bush era.
Have they? What do you mean they've stood for human rights? I don't think in any way
they've stood for human rights in the broadest sense. Like one of the largest explanations for the Iraq War besides weapons of mass destruction, was basically that they were getting rid of a tyrant and a dictator and trying to spread democracy. This old neoconservative idea.
I think they use that as a vehicle. I would disagree with you that they actually care about human rights or democracy. I don't think they do. I think most of those
you
people.
say they. I mean, this isn't too monolithic, man. The Republican Party is made up of lots of different people with lots of different ideas. So maybe you might say that about.
I think the majority of them care more about what their donors think than they care about any sort of ideas of democracy. If they cared about democracy, then they wouldn't be the party of gerrymandering. They wouldn't be the party of cutting out Black and Latino voters. So I have a big problem with saying that they're like.
Again, man, you're making it so monolithic. Like gerrymandering, these are things that are done by like state officials and governors in these races, and they're done by Democrats too. Like it's not like the Republicans are the party of gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is done by both sides, in all honesty.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more racist and it's more prominent amongst the Republicans. But
because it's a lot easier to target like heavy minority areas with gerrymandering than it is to target, I guess, liberal people with gerrymandering. But gerrymandering is not a partisan thing. You're talking about also local elections. United States senators are not gerrymandering.
I think
presidential
probably some of them in the past have, and they're all taking money from like these monolithic corporations that are all not in favor of democracy. Like the corporations are in favor of oligarchy because the corporations are amoral. Like they're just straight up amoral, and the Republicans take more money and are more on the.
That's also debatable. Both of the parties take lots of money.
Both of them take lots of money. I think both of them shouldn't, but the Republicans take more. They do.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact. Definitely, they take more money from the NRA. They take more money from the military-industrial complex, things like that. So I guess I can't say 100% they take more money. Period. But there are definitely more grassroots candidates coming from the left. Look at all the people that only take small dollar donations from the right and the
anyway,
left.
we're getting way off topic.
Okay.
We're basically speculating. My point is that ideologically, since the 1980s, I would say, is when you could really put a hard line. Maybe the 1970s, the Republican Party, in their anti-communist stance, started this ideology that basically they were anti-communist because they were for the promotion of democracy and civil rights. Agree with it or not? That's the point of view that they tried to like give to the United States and to the world.
That's what they would. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The thing I would argue against is like I don't know how genuine that was.
In any case, it is genuine for some of them.
For some of them, I'm sure for some of them, I don't think they actually understand it, and I don't think they do it the right way, and I don't think they know how to do that. But okay, I can give you that point that yeah, maybe some of them really they want to spread democracy.
With that as their platform, they've also been pumping this as one of the major issues of their political platforms, of their ideology, for 30 plus years, probably closer to 35, 40 years. And then to turn around and have one, poor businessman just come out from nowhere and shit on the party and change everything. Be like, no, actually rights are not the most important thing. Getting like a handful of billions of dollars from this corrupt Saudi regime is actually more important to us. And the Republicans, everyone is just like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? It's clearly not the case.
Yeah, I feel like that's mostly true, but it took quite a while for them to catch on to that. In my opinion, I feel like it's developing much
years
too slowly.
late. Absolutely. I mean, they should have done the same thing with Russia, but this is a good example of a conflict. I mean, he absolutely fumbled it. He believes America's enemies over the agencies that he himself is supposed to be in charge of.
Well, he's shown that from day one. I mean, he put people in place, like he put Pruitt in charge of the EPA, and he just puts all these people in charge of my point. He puts people in charge of agencies that he wants to destroy them, who they're fundamentally against them.
Yeah.
Like he tried to
Rick Perry, the Department of...
Yeah, all of it, man. He put
You notice I didn't say it. Department of
Huh?
Rick Perry, Department of. That's the point. Do you remember during the debate? It's like there are 3 agencies that I'm gonna get rid
Oh
of.
yeah. I remember that now. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, he puts Ben Carson in charge of HUD. It's absurd. Like these people don't understand these agencies, and 2 are completely against them.
Yeah, man.
It's bogus, man. And
Anyone who's married to Candy Carson should not be in charge of.
no comment. I'm not gonna body shame Candy Carson.
I'm not buying her.
What are you, face shaming her?
It has nothing to do with her physical appearance. It has everything to do with who Candy Carson is.
I actually don't know that much about her actual.
Look it up.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing now.
Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know much about her, but I do know that Ben Carson is like literally asleep at the wheel because I don't think he's been awake for the last 20 years. I cannot believe that guy is a brain surgeon. It's astounding to me.
He's been asleep since the day he was born.
He's so stupid, and he's also clearly a liar. Like he's just said some of the most ridiculous things, and he did the whole I stabbed a guy. Like he just wants to play like I'm the reformed black guy because I became a Christian, and conservatives love that.
To do it, it sounds like Ben Carson.
No, well, like when I was 16,
You sound like a stoner.
that's what he sounds like. He's just asleep.
It's gonna be a little higher pitched.
higher
pitched like that.
I stabbed my friend, you know? I tried to stab a guy, but belt buckle. Guy had a belt buckle on and stabbed him, and
Then I ate his brains.
thank God I didn't kill him. And you know, that's and then you know, I'm just a lowly black man, and you know, I was studying for my final exams, and I wasn't a good student, and I went to sleep, and an angel came to me and told me all the answers on the exam, and I passed it.
Did you really say that?
He said that. He said he claims that before his final exams, it was either finals or midterms, a big test to get his doctorate, medical school. He claimed that he didn't study because he was a bad student or something. That an angel came to him and told him the answers. It's just absurd.
I hope somebody revokes his medical license someday.
I hope. Yeah, I don't know what I hope for that guy, but I hope he just disappears, and I hope he doesn't have any sort of power because he is not the sort of person. He reminds me of a Jesse Lee Peterson. You should check out Jesse Lee Peterson. That guy he's classic anti-black guy. Just conservative. Yeah.
Okay, who do you think the Democrats should run? Speaking of Joe Biden, because he's pretty high in the polls.
I mean you know my answer. I'm gonna say Bernie Sanders is who I think they should run. Who do you think they should run?
Yeah, I'd say Bernie's probably their best bet, but I mean there's some really other good choices, man.
Such as?
Like Mike Pence,
All right.
as long as it's not Beto, man. Beto lost.
No, yeah, 100%, 100%. Beto has been showing his cards more and more. He just did a meeting with who's it? AIPAC, the Israeli group, and was saying a bunch of stuff about that, how he's really in favor of Israel, and that can be debated. I'm not super against Israel. They're a thriving democracy in there, but we're not going to have this argument now. But he's also shown that he took he took money from oil companies and things like that. Against Ted Cruz, I would take him any day of the week, but he's not the bill of goods that a lot of people were sold from him. So and in addition, I don't know, the thing with him losing is I think less of a point, but he also he hasn't like served a whole lot of time. It's the same thing. If someone said run AOC, run Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
No way, man. Oh my
Exactly. That's my thing. Like people have floated that, and I'm just like, let her.
God. You watch her lose.
Exactly.
Watch her be the person who loses to Trump a second fucking time. Because she's gonna get urban voters, and she's gonna lose the entire center of.
I think she would have a better chance than some of the left candidates. Like I think she would do it better than Hillary. Honestly, it's
That's
debatable.
That's
It's
super
debatable. It's
Man,
debatable.
Because Hillary Clinton got like I think Hillary Clinton really got fucked the year she ran. I think if Hillary Clinton had run in 08, she probably would have won. Honestly, against McCain, but it's
Maybe, but that's another thing is you're coming off 8 years of Bush, and people are fed up with that. Like he put us in illegal wars and things like that. So
it's true, but they were pissed at Republican like she wouldn't have necessarily lost the white working class like she did this time.
well, yeah, I agree, but
Trump-
also
because
part of
Trump
that.
appealed to them.
Part of that was also that she didn't campaign in the Rust Belt. She didn't go to a few states. Like she did that herself. She could have won over those people if she was like in any way like exciting or had any sort of message. But she doesn't. She's just like an empty, vapid person. I don't have any love for Hillary Clinton, and I think she lost because, and again, she won.
She was better than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think
She's not better than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the issues. I would argue.
depends on the. I really don't know her stance in particular, but I know that as like a 28-year-old. First of all, she's not eligible to run for president of the United States.
I agree. But
second of all, nobody would fucking vote for a 28-year-old.
Yeah, that's the thing. But say even that she was old enough, I would say she doesn't have a whole lot of experience.
Yeah, she's like a fresh college graduate, basically.
Yeah. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Is
I'm not qualified to be president of the United States, although I think I should be.
I'd vote for you. I'll write you in for the presidential election if they try to run some fucking. If they try to run Hillary Clinton again, I'll vote for you. I'll write your ass in.
I'm not old enough again.
I don't give a fuck. I'll still write your ass in over fucking voting for Hillary Clinton.
I think that anyone who's too man, what the last election basically showed is that the Democrats need to pick somebody who's appealing to a broad swath of the United States population.
Yeah.
And not to an elite core of people.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And I think that's the problem is like a lot of the establishment is again pushing Biden. And I think Biden is better than Hillary, but I feel like they're going to end up with the same thing even if he gets elected. Like he would, if you look at the polls, he will almost, especially now with the way Trump is going, he will beat Trump almost certainly.
Almost anybody can
But
beat Trump.
he is not going to make anyone excited. He's a milquetoast, middle of the line Democrat. He's not a progressive. He's not going to make anyone's life significantly better.
Why do you say that? I think that
Because look, his policies are very middle of the line. He was the vice president of Barack Obama, who was another he was a very hope and change type person, but his policies are all milquetoast.
Yeah, but okay, this is where I kind of disagree with you. I think that the policies that he pushed back in 2008 and these primary campaigns are absolutely not the policies that he would push in 2020. Basically, the United States has fundamentally changed the kind of policies that you can ask for, that you can push, man. 20 years ago, man, people didn't want public health. I mean, some people did, but it was not a popular majority issue like it is now.
I guess. I mean, but
America's
the thing is,
left.
he could have passed it. It could have got passed.
First of all, that's not on him because he was the vice president.
Obviously, that's not. But he wasn't even talking in favor of it. And
What do you mean, for a public option?
No. For a Medicare for all or a better system.
Yeah, man, nobody was at the time.
There were people pushing for it.
Very few. Yeah,
It was fewer. I'll give you that.
It's very few, but it also wasn't super popular in America, and it would have been really difficult to push. It would have been really, really, really.
I think this is the thing. One thing that I think Trump does well, which is very unorthodox, is he keeps campaigning even when it's not an election year. He goes out there and he gives speeches, and of course that's to
his
rile.
whole life is a popularity complex to prove that he's not a soft man who can't get it up.
Yeah, agreed.
His
But
poll numbers, I mean.
I think, I think that's true. But I think if you get a popular candidate, like if Barack Obama would have kept going around the country, Fox News would have lost their minds. But at the same time, he could have got people fired up for Medicare for All. Bernie, a few years later, was getting people in the South to cheer for Medicare for All.
I know what you're saying, but you're talking about two different eras, man. You're talking about 2016.
It's the time difference is not that much, and I get that like a
It
lot
is, man.
has changed. I get it, a lot has changed. But I think
Look at medical marijuana.
I think if you, yeah,
What
but
I'm saying is,
I don't know.
5 years makes such a huge difference on some policies, man. For things to go from not popular to like 90%.
But the
approval.
reason that those things got more popular is because of messaging. You get out there and you message and you say, "This is what we think."
Is it messaging? Is it public narrative? It's hard to say.
I
It's hard
think
to
I think
pinpoint.
those things are intertwined. I don't think those things are necessarily independent of each other.
Okay, well, who messaged it, man? Because I think after,
A lot of it in recently is the internet, because a lot of the politicians don't get out and really say anything. They just say platitudes and cliches. Oh, Pokemon go to the polls.
Beto O'Rourke, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's a perfect example.
he got out and said some good things, and
Platitude
a lot of
machine.
a lot of his things were platitudes. He did get out and say some good things, though. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm not gonna defend that guy, especially
think-
not now.
I think Bernie would be the best pick, honestly. I can't think of anyone. The list that I've seen, basically, I don't see how any of these other people could possibly overtake.
I don't think they could overtake him. If I had to choose, number one is Bernie. Number two is probably either. Number two might be Andrew Yang, man. Andrew Yang is.
He doesn't have enough of a name.
He doesn't. That's why.
He's
That's
too coastal, man. America, like right now, I think picking, honestly, and this might be controversial, I think picking like a deep Southern Democrat would be like golden pick right now, man. Because just
Who-
kind of like
who?
culturally. I forget who it was. There was somebody from Mississippi. Who
Andrew
was trying-
Gillum. I'm just kidding.
He was trying to, I don't remember his name, but somebody from the Deep South was trying to put his name in, and I just heard the guy's accent. I was like, this sounds like, man, Southern Democrats, they win so much, it's not even funny.
But they just have to. They
Clinton,
have to.
Carter.
They have to have the right policies for me. Like I
agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think picking another Carter would be, I'd rather honestly, like, abstain. Well, not with Trump in office, but like, yeah. If it was a Carter, then yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think Bernie Sanders is the best, but I'm just saying, like, Bernie Sanders is getting up there in age, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
if he's
but the
gonna
thing
run.
is, who is the establishment picking? Because like, I don't remember.
Who's the establishment?
No.
Hopefully they cut out the superdelegates thing and we can have like.
Well, they
clean
did
primaries
they
time.
did a little bit of it, but it's not just the super delegates, man. It's the mainstream media too. Like Donna Brazile was working for CNN, sending Hillary debate questions. Like it's clear that there's like
Yeah,
a
but
lot-
that was Donna Brazil's foul. That wasn't like CNN conspiring. That was Donna Brazil.
But that's the thing is, I'm not saying it's. This is the thing is, in terms of conspiracies, like people want to say like it's this huge conspiracy and everyone's involved in it. I don't think that's how conspiracies work. If there's a conspiracy, it's very few people that know about it.
Yeah.
So because that
Ivanka-
makes more sense. It's Occam's razor with that sort of stuff. So, but yeah,
Jared Kushner.
yeah, exactly. Jared Kushner was you know
What if
colluding with CNN. No,
What if Ivanka
But-
ran against her father on the Democratic ticket?
if they were the only two, I would vote for Ivanka. But Ivanka is a piece of trash.
Well, I'm saying, what if? Can you imagine?
Oh, that'd be great. I think Trump would just literally kill himself on stage. I think he would pull out a gun and shoot himself in the face.
He'd be like, I cleaned the shit out of your diaper. I know all your secrets.
Well, he would probably like go out
No,
and
that's
like
not
say
true.
something like very offensive, and or he would just be like my daughter wants to have sex with me so bad that she needs to run against me because she wants to have power over me.
I saw Ivanka bleeding really badly from a facelift.
She was bleeding from her face or whatever. No, man, I think if the Dems don't get okay, the point I wanted to make earlier was
Ivanka's black.
what?
That's what he would say.
He probably would. He would say
Ivanka's a black Jew.
she's a black Jew Muslim. It's a new religion. But so there was I forget if it was Politico or CNN. I forget who it was, but they had a thing where they said they were ranking their candidates who they think that would be the best against Trump.
Yeah.
And basically they said they gave their profile of Bernie. And they gave him a pretty good rating, even though he owns in the majority of polls. He is the highest. He's polling the highest in the majority of polls. But they said about him that one, he's too old, and two, he's a white male, and we need to run someone other. But they're
Who
not.
said that? Who said that?
I forget which news agency it was. I would have to look it up.
You
But
don't
it was
think-
a mainstream news agency, and the thing that the number one pick that they chose was Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is almost as old as Bernie.
Yeah.
He's like a year younger than Bernie, and he's also a white male. So their whole argument is absurd.
It is absurd.
It's
well,
absurd,
Bernie
and that's-
Sanders also Jewish, so he's not even like technically a white male.
Fair enough. That's a fair enough point. But that's my thing is, in every poll, Trump loses to Bernie. Bernie beats Trump.
Anybody would beat Trump. That's not like saying.
I don't agree. I don't totally agree. I agree almost. I probably agree 80%.
A whip match would beat Trump probably.
But fucking Hillary didn't, and if they ran Hillary and Trump again, I think Hillary.
They're not gonna
I think
run
it's
Hillary
I think
again,
it's
I can tell you
50-50.
that.
But Hillary is coming out now, and she's doing more and more press, and it looks like she might try to run again.
No, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I after the shit that has happened in the past 3 and 4 years in the United States, I am not putting anything out of believability. I'm not going to say that Hillary won't run, and I'm not going to say that Trump won't run again, and I won't say that Trump won't win again. If the Democrats run a shit candidate as maligned and as hated and as a fucking giant piece of like dog shit that Trump is, he can win if they run someone like Hillary again. I don't think they will, and I'm hoping and praying that they don't.
What if they ran Michael Avenatti?
Bob Ross for
Michael Avenatti's trying to run on the Democratic ticket. He already said he was.
Fuck Michael Avenatti. I hate that guy.
Okay, what about Michael
He's
Cohen?
a domestic abuser. Just kidding. He's actually likely not.
What about Michael Cohen?
Hey,
He's a Democrat.
no, Michael Cohen is a joke. So can I?
The hero who shut down Trump. I can just imagine them like bickering on the
Yeah.
debate stage.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch. That would be fun to watch, but I don't want them to run Cohen. Okay, it would be fun to watch. I'd love to watch that. Okay, hey, can I make you like? I just want to show you this video. It's very random, but speaking of Michael Cohen, Paul Manafort. You know, did you see the Paul Manafort thing where he's like basically they ask him about.
Dancing with the Stars.
They ask him about what do they say? They ask him about like Trump's position on something. I forget exactly what it is, but he's just like, that's what Trump said. I mean, that's what I think.
Oh yeah, that's an old one, man.
Yeah, it's so good though. I love that video so much. Hold on.
That's what I said. That's what he said. That's what I meant to say.
Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
Whoa.
It's just so sad, man. I've
Yeah,
seen
it doesn't look great now.
that video has been popping up more and more. That's what he said. That's what I said. That's our position.
He's trying to take a new plea deal because like all of the information that he gave was I forget what he did. Whatever. They're saying that he violated the terms of the plea agreement already.
Yeah. He's in deep, man.
It's obviously not true. He was. I bet he was involved in something with this man. If he was this close to that campaign, and now we find out that Trump had some interest in trying to get Trump Tower Moscow. Who do you think set up like the connections, if not Paul Manafort?
Mm-hmm.
Like a convicted money launderer.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was Paul Manafort, man. Paul Manafort is like not the missing link. He is the link, man.
Man, that's the thing that might be good for everyone because if he doesn't flip hard, he's going to jail literally until he dies. He was looking at with a plea deal like maybe 10 years, and now he's like because he broke the plea agreement. If he doesn't bring forward some serious information, that dude is going to die in prison.
Yeah, same with Cohen, man. It's good, man.
I mean, I don't like that anyone dies in prison, but yeah, it is.
No, I'm
good.
not saying it's good for him to die in prison.
I know.
It's good that they're using every piece of leverage they have to get all the information they can about this situation, man. And all these people. So, man, he has so many fucking criminals surrounding him.
Yeah.
It's so bad, man.
It's what we. That's what. It's not what we elected, but it's. I mean, it's what the United States elected, man. It's what people voted for. They voted for a criminal, and that I think that speaks to how bad the United States system is.
Look how many people were convicted around him, man. Manafort, Cohen, Michael Flynn, Kushner's father.
Yep.
Who else? Roger Stone is now facing charges. Who else? Are there others?
There are probably others. I mean, and there are people around him that aren't going to jail because of their position. I mean, look at the Russian oligarchs he probably has connections with.
Oh, look at all the other corruption shit too, man. Scott Pruitt, Ryan Zinke. Yeah, man, you just surround yourself with just like a pile of scum. And these aren't distant people, man. These are I mean, half of these people were either like the closest legal people to him, or people involved in the highest order of his campaign or administration at different points. Basically, Manafort being one.
I mean,
Cohen being one.
look at what Trump said about flipping. He said, "Oh, they're flippers." You know, I think flipping should be illegal. So what he's saying is like working with law enforcement should be illegal. Like that's
because he's like the mob.
it's
boss,
absurd.
man.
Yeah, exactly. He is a mob boss in a lot of senses. So it's absurd. The guy has no reason to be anywhere close to power, but yet he's the most powerful person in the world. It's like we're yeah, I don't know. I've said this before. We're living in the upside down world, man. It's insane.
Man, there's mosquitoes getting in.
Close the screen. It's hot in here, dog. We also get, man, I'm excited to move into that new apartment. Put up all my soundproofing. It's gonna sound good. We're not gonna have to worry about all these scooter sounds. But yeah, man, I don't know.
I think this is all going to affect his performance at all these international meetings he has coming up.
Oh, did you hear about the fact that he said like, he canceled his meeting with Putin because the Russians commandeered that Ukrainian boat. You heard about that, right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Basically, for anyone that doesn't know, like the Russians like took over this boat in like waters that like the Ukrainians have been traveling freely for like a long time, and
New Crimea, I think.
yeah, and basically they like it seems like no one can prove it for sure, but some of the high ranking officials on this boat like came out and like did confessions, and they said like, oh, we were told to like turn around, and like we were told like we weren't supposed to be here, and we ignored it, and like that was our fault. And it looks like very coerced confessions. Like they're basically like on camera, like, and one of the guys is like almost certainly reading a script, and the other guy is like playing, like twiddling his thumbs, and like looks like he's very like nervous and stuff like that. And so Trump basically said like he's not going to meet with Putin at the next G20 summit. But the thing is
Russia and China are just the nightmares of the world right now. We should just nuke them both.
that's probably the answer, is just nuke them.
Yeah, man, that is the answer. Nuke Beijing and nuke Moscow. And just cross our fingers.
I wish. It's not realistic though. It's not gonna happen. I mean,
I'm obviously being facetious.
I know, of course, but yeah, if those two forces were wiped off the map, I don't know.
I don't know. They're both bad actors. I'm not saying we should use force against them, but
Of course, yeah, you can't.
they're both horrible actors, and I think that, I mean, we already have very terrible relations with Russia because of their terrible behavior. They're probably worse right now than I would say the last 10 years of the Soviet Union in terms of their international conduct.
They're pretty bad. I mean, they've almost certainly like upfront, like they've done Saudi Arabia type stuff that we've seen recently. Like they basically murdered journalists.
All the time.
Not journalists, but They definitely murder journalists. Like Putin has murdered journalists in Russia, but also just like the gas attacks in the UK, like sort of stuff is like insane that is going on.
Not to mention the fact that they didn't help Syria dispose of the chemical weapons and then help them cover it up. So they're involved now in weapons of mass destruction. Good world actor. China is involved in concentration camps involving what 1/10, actually probably closer to 1/5 of the male Uyghur population just being interned in concentration camps where they're being beaten and tortured.
Excuse me, Arya, re-education camps. They're trying to make them good citizens.
Yeah, I don't care what they call it. Those are concentration camps.
Yeah, 100%. Of course
They're
are.
the new Nazis of the world, and of course the European Union, as usual, is just like, this is really bad, you guys. Like, you should
The
stop.
European Union and the U.S. is similar in a lot of ways. They just don't care, man. It's about the money.
Well, the U.S. is a massive trade war against them right now, so there's not much worse that we could do to them.
But it's
honestly.
not because of any actual like.
No, of course not. It's not
it-
because of that. But I think that if this would open up the possibility that if Trump were to try and stop the trade war, to try and take credit for something like that, hopefully the United States would try and, I would cross my fingers, be like, we need to push for hard sanctions against China, because like, if we want to contain Chinese growth in any case and fix their human rights regime, then why can't we push against them?
I hope so. I hope so. I 100% hope so. But
Fuck China, man. We're the biggest economy in the world. We're the strongest country in the world. Let's use our fucking power before,
But that's the thing. We haven't in so long. So often we go after these weak countries and we try to control them for our own economic gain instead of actually like pulling our weight to fight against these countries that are doing human rights abuses.
That's right. So let's push. Let's push against Saudi.
Yeah, 100%. Let's push against Saudi. Let's push against China. Let's push against, which actually Syria
Well,
might
there's
have.
nothing we can do against Syria because we don't have.
We
any
can, but
relations.
we can pull out and we can say if we go.
We're not in there, man.
But no, we are. We are in there.
We're
Like
not. We're not in
we're
there at
giving money to the Saudis. But that's the thing is
They're
that's what
Saudis-
I was saying. If we pull out of the weapons deal with Saudi and if we say we're not going to back your war in Yemen, maybe the Saudis continue that. But if they're working on that alone, I don't think they do it for very long. And it seems like the tide is turning even internally potentially against MBS. So Saudi could flip. And we need to push. We need to stop fucking with these small countries. Why are we? And Mexico is getting like a very liberal leader coming in for the next term, so that could be good if we just leave them alone and just. I just hope that we stop messing with these small countries.
I don't know if
Just
we're messing with Mexico. I think Trump doesn't. I mean, this fake renegotiation of NAFTA, I think, was the only thing he wanted to do.
Yeah, but I mean, we've kind of treated them like shit for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
Trump just says a lot of bad things, but he's just an idiot and he spews nonsense.
it ends up being negative for them, though. I think, and
We haven't done anything policy-wise against them, that's for sure.
well, the drug war very negatively affects them. The drug war super negatively affects Mexico, 100%. So
I mean, the drug war is... Mexico has their own drug war, to be honest. It's
because of the U.S. drug war, it's connected. It's a lot of it is connected. So you get out of these sorts of things and you say, okay, we're ending the drug war. Like, I think if you legalize marijuana in the U.S., it would kill the Mexican drug war pretty quickly. But especially if you decriminalized all drugs.
not... We're getting off topic, too. We were talking about America picking on small countries.
Well, I think that's part of it. Is weaker countries.
This is a domestic policy issue. I agree with you.
But
on
it
the
affects
drug war thing.
other countries.
Yeah, but that's not a foreign policy issue on its face, at least.
On its face, but I think it ends up being a
I mean,
foreign
I agree
policy
with you.
issue.
I agree with the principle. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, but in general, I think I don't know. Of course, I'm pretty isolationist in a lot of regards. So I think we shouldn't really be in a lot of places unless it's a direct threat to us or one of our allies. And obviously, we have a lot of allies, so
We have a lot
that's
of
pretty
allies.
that's pretty broad. But but also we need to pick our allies better. We're just and we can't be doing things like intervening in other countries' democratic processes, like for instance, Guatemala and Honduras, which we talked about in the last episode. Like you can't.
That was decades ago, though.
No, we tacitly endorsed the what was it? Was it Guatemalan or Honduras? It was Guatemalan. The Guatemalan elections, we basically tacitly endorsed, and like Hillary Clinton, who was the Secretary of State at the time, she wasn't Secretary of State at the time. This is in 1998.
That's 2 decades ago.
Yeah, but
That's decades ago.
okay, so it's decades ago, but it still continues on to now. I mean, the effects of things that happen obviously are for more than this decades and decades. Look at the effects of World War II.
We're having the same debate as last week.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like just because you say something was decades ago doesn't mean the effects of it aren't still alive.
I'm saying right now, I would say that our policy we really don't we publicly I don't think are involved in interfering in anyone's democratic processes. I can't think of anyone, even ones that we really hate. Venezuela, man.
But the thing is like a lot of that stuff is like not on the surface, and you may not see that, and it may be secret. So I feel like it's hard to say that like we're not affecting anyone else.
Do you think it's okay to clandestinely affect other countries' elections, if it's for the purpose of American interests?
No.
No, even though they do it to us.
I mean, it's gonna happen. The thing is, it's gonna happen. So I think we should protect ourselves as much as we can, and we should. I think affecting other elections with information campaigns and things like that.
That's what I mean. I'm not talking about like assassinating candidates. I'm talking about like information. I mean the same.
It depends on how it's done, I would say, but the thing is the problem I have is I don't trust America to do the right thing. I don't trust governments.
I think the more open and transparent the actions we do are, the more likely that we will do the right thing, because people will be held accountable.
If it's more and more transparent, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. If it's more transparent, but the thing is, a lot of it's not transparent. It's under guises of we're doing freedom and democracy, but actually what we're doing is like we're doing a bombing campaign. Or we're gonna invade this country, or we're gonna give weapons to their enemies, and then they're gonna bomb school buses full of children, like Saudi Arabia does. That sort of stuff, I don't know. I can't get on board with. So, yeah, if it's more and more in the open, and we can critique it, and then if they do the wrong thing, then everyone can get up in an outrage and say like this is bullshit, and we don't agree with this. Okay, maybe. Depends on what we do. It depends on what that sort of intervention entails. But I'm okay with the U.S. using its influence to go out and say like, this is what we think. If you move in the direction that we think, we will help you. But it's multifaceted because the U.S. needs to be more democratic. So the people that are making those sorts of pleas from the presidency, the Senate, the Congress, things like that, they're a representative of the people instead of their rich oligarchs that get elected because they had the most money.
I get what you're saying, but we can't just like give up on every effort in the world because of all these fairly big problems that are going to take decades to solve probably. I mean, we still need to make efforts to improve these processes before we, for instance, like take money out of politics, end the drug war. I mean, these things aren't things that will happen overnight.
So, but what are we gonna do? I mean, But the thing is if your question is, do we use the politicians that we have now to do that? I don't know. It depends on which politician you're talking about to push this sort of idea. Because if you're talking about Republican politicians, no, I would rather we don't do anything than we push like people like Lindsey Graham and like these super uber conservatives that are basically like just like some of them are potentially like out and out racist.
Well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about pushing candidates? I'm talking about reforming policies.
Which policies though? We were talking about overseas policies
Yeah.
and what they do to other countries. If my choice is between like putting a racist in,
Well, this has nothing to do with people. Policies have nothing to do with people.
they have a lot to do with people. What do they not have to do with people? What do you mean?
You're talking about introducing like
The
foreign policy.
introducing foreign policies, they're introduced by people.
I mean, people might most foreign policy ideas last a lot longer than the people in office that push them.
But if they introduce them, they have a hand in crafting them. So
So
if-
slight hand in crafting them for a short period of time,
It doesn't matter, and also their donors have a huge hand in crafting them.
for a short period of time.
But the policy is there. Once the policy is created, it doesn't matter who crafted it or what period it's
You're
involved
saying
in.
the same thing I'm saying. You're saying that
But once they craft the policy is crafted.
as long as the policy is right, it doesn't matter who crafted it, though. That's what I'm saying.
But the people that craft it shape how the policy, one, is enacted, and two, what the policy substance is.
But
So
those-
if a racist crafts a policy, it's going to probably be racist.
maybe for a couple of years, but these.
But
things
no.
don't
Once it's implemented, that's what the policy is.
No, the policies change. I mean, it's not like for.
You're saying how it's interpreted is different.
know how it's implemented.
Okay, for instance, let's talk about Middle East policy. Okay, how many? I mean, you can consider like we have one monolithic Middle East policy for at least the past 20 years. How many different presidents? How many different administrators? How many different congresses has that gone through? There's no one Middle East policy. There might be like a general trend, but the implementation every 2 years. I mean, there's an entire new Congress in charge of it. Every 4 years.
But it hasn't changed that much, and in any case, it's ramped up.
It hasn't changed that much because there's no good options. Basically, it's not because there's really no good options. But I don't think that has anything to do with the policy itself.
Well, what is the U.S. policy in the Middle East then?
To try and stoke terrorism, promote stability, and promote American interests. I would say those are probably the main pillars of it in general, in like a very broad general sense.
Then I feel like we've totally failed. Like, what have we done positive in the Middle East?
You're an isolationist, so for you, I mean,
I'm not 100% an isolationist. I'm in favor of working with other countries.
working with other countries
If it
means doing nothing.
Not exactly.
Working with other countries, the way when you say working with other countries means we don't do anything. That means other countries do things. That means we.
No,
don't
it
do
could be.
anything.
It could mean we give them.
Yeah, we give them money. That's not
Money.
doing anything. We give money
That's
to these
doing
countries
something.
anyway.
That's doing something, and we could send.
We give
we
money
could-
to
we could-
100. We give money
I
to
know.
the majority of the countries
I
in the world
know,
right now.
but that's still doing something. That's not doing nothing.
It's basically doing nothing.
It's not. I disagree with that on the face of it. That's doing something. You're literally doing something. You're giving someone money, and also you could send people over there to help them craft policy, or you could
We
send
have
people
that.
over there to help them build.
Jordan, we
Well,
have
so,
that.
So what is your idea of doing something? Going to war? Bombing countries indiscriminately?
Foreign policy is wide, and it doesn't only include going to war. But when you're talking about not actually getting involved, you're talking about things like programs like USAID, like the United States State Department, like the Peace Corps. These things have existed since the 60s.
Those are fine with me, but that's doing something. But it's
Those
not,
are basically doing nothing. Those are basically charity
so.
programs.
But again, what is your policy? What you're
Okay,
saying?
how about-
Doing something is bombing. Doing something is
I
war.
didn't say that.
So what are you
You're
s-
putting
what-
words in my mouth.
No. So what are you saying? Doing something is.
How about we have a diplomatic corps where we actually use economic sanctions to try and get what we want?
Okay, I'm cool with that. That's what I'm saying. Give them money or do sanctions. But I'm not saying. But my thing is, we don't need to be going to war in 8 countries. We don't need to be like funding a fucking illegal fucking war
That's giving
in
money,
Syria.
Jordan. That's giving money.
That's giving money or cutting it off.
That's part of giving money.
But that's what I said. I said giving money. You said that's not doing anything. But you said giving money is not doing anything. But so we're saying the same thing, and you're saying I'm saying don't do anything.
I think that giving money is stupid. I think that if we're gonna get,
Why is giving money stupid?
okay, I shouldn't have said giving money is stupid. I think that giving money is not a very fruitful way. I think that we should use the money to develop our own policy and to promote our own interests with our own State Department. I think giving money to other governments is almost always a waste of time.
But that's you said I was isolationist. That's very isolationist to say.
No, I think that we should be directly involved. I think that if we're gonna, instead of throwing money at the Saudi government, if you want to improve them, promote stability in the region, then we can, use that money to hire 2,000 new people at the State Department and have them try and rebuild their government.
That's isolationist.
It's
That's building our own.
I just said take our people from the State Department and send them over. That's not isolationist at
But
all. That's saying instead of just like sitting back here and sending them a check, we actually send thousands of Americans over there to do something. That's the opposite of
do you think? Oh, I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. Okay. That's not exactly isolationist. I agree with you. That was a mischaracterization. But to send people over there, do you think that basically a kingdom is going to listen to what you have to say? Why do you think that they would listen to what we have to say?
They don't have a fucking choice. They're the little brother in this relationship.
Well, they can kind of do whatever they want because...
Okay, here's what happens if they don't listen to what we say and we cut off relations with them. Their weapon systems suddenly fucking stop working. Their primary protector in the region starts working. Their primary enemy in the region, who's Iran, has an ally who is now suddenly 150 times bigger than them, Russia.
But we're not gonna because of the U.S. in what we have going on right now. I think this is another reason why we have to get money out of politics because we're never gonna let Iran grow. We're gonna constantly fight against them, and what that means is that we're gonna back Saudi. We're gonna back Saudi Arabia. So, I
disagree. I think Donald Trump has a weird thing with Iran, but I don't think Iran, first of all, has no problems growing their economy. Their economy grows and falls at the whims of their horrible shithole government who basically mismanages the economy in the country because it's a fucking theocracy. The United States has very little to do with Iran's failures other than the fact that they cut them off from the U.S. financial system, which is not their right anyways. They don't have the right to buy U.S. dollars and participate in SWIFT and American financial systems. That's their own fucking problem.
I agree with you. I mean, as long as it's not involved in killing other people, I'm cool with sending more and more diplomats. Yeah, let's do that. 100%. I'm on board with that. But that's not what we're doing. We're sending these people bombs which they're dropping on school children. We're bombing
We're
our own right.
Bombs. We're selling them bombs. We're not sending them.
Okay, so we're making a profit off of.
Yeah.
Like it's blood money. It's it's not necessarily worse. It's basically, I don't know. Maybe it is worse, but it's bad. Either way, it's bad. And we're bombing in a lot of countries that I would argue that we shouldn't be bombing in. So yeah, if you want to send people, but that's what I'm saying. This is my whole argument. Quit sending people bombs. Quit promoting war. Let's go over there and let's have discussions. Let's create dialogue. Let's push propaganda. Of course, not negative propaganda. I don't think you need bombs.
You need the threat. You need the threat of
We have the threat. We have the biggest military by tenfold. We have the biggest military than the next 11 countries combined. We have that threat. We don't need to bomb anybody. We can say we will bomb you if you don't do this, but we don't actually need to bomb anybody.
Do it. You have to be willing to do it. Otherwise, your threat doesn't carry.
Obviously, the U.S. is willing to do it. We've done it so many times. We've killed so many innocent civilians. Can we stop for a little bit? Can we take a break?
I'm not saying that the U.S. should go.
But the U.S. is doing it. So stop. Just can we take a break from killing innocent fucking people?
You keep saying that the United States deliberately kills innocent civilians, which is the most.
I don't think they deliberately do it, but I don't think they give a shit. I don't think they give a shit.
Why do you say that?
Because we've done it for so long and we haven't stopped. The amount of innocent civilians that we've killed keeps growing, and we've killed innocent U.S. civilians, which is under Obama, which is clearly
You're talking about a small handful of people. I agree with you.
No, it's not a small handful of people innocent civilians that we've killed.
Are you kidding me? You're talking about U.S. You're talking about U.S.
Yeah, U.S. civilians is small.
Yeah.
But the amount of civilians that we've killed is huge. It's potentially millions of people.
Yeah, that's factual. That's farcical, man. Most of these people were killed. You're talking about in Iraq and shit. Most of those people were killed in Iraqi terrorist attacks by Iraqis. The number we looked at the numbers.
We're bombing.
We looked at the numbers on
we're
a
bombing
previous
in,
podcast.
but we're bombing in 8 countries. It's not just Iraq that we're bombing in.
First of all,
regardless,
we're involved in 8 countries. We're not bombing in 8 countries. We're like in the Central African Republic. Like we have troops that support the French and local forces who are doing the bombings. That's not us.
But
bombing.
we shouldn't tacitly support those people. If we support those people, then we're complicit.
Again, like
so we're complicit in civilian deaths.
The same arguments. Like with these are the French government asks us to help with this. Like this isn't support.
Then we should push them, just like you said. We should push the Saudi government. We should push the French government to say,
oh, Al-Shabaab isn't that bad.
What? So, do you think bombing and not changing anything? We haven't changed anything. That's the thing. The situation on the ground has gotten worse. Has any Middle Eastern country gotten better because we bomb or we tacitly endorse?
I think you're under the impression that we bomb first and then ask questions later, but that's almost never the case. Like. You don't think that they try and send people to negotiate? They try to tone down the conflict before they send troops out there? I mean, that's not true at all, man. They try and negotiate. They try and tone this shit down. But
I don't know how hard we do it because we
But that's speculation. That you just admitted that you don't know how hard we try.
Of course, who knows? Who knows what's going on?
There's public record about this, man. All of our diplomatic shit. Just look on the State Department website right now. You can see every fucking action that the State Department
But these
does.
people are on the take for fucking money from the
Who's they? Who's these people? State Department do not accept like public finance contributions.
But the people that control them do. The people that pick who these people.
The State Department is a merit-based appointment system for the most part. Other than like the head of the State Department, obviously the Secretary.
But that's the people who hire a lot of these people. Not necessarily in every case, but these are the people that are in charge of these departments, and so they get to direct how they run. And so of course they're going to hire people that want to protect the interests of these defense contractors.
This is a very like conspiracy theory based idea of the way the entire government functions. But I agree.
People are making
I agree
money
with
off
you
it.
that there's probably some interest. I agree with you. But I think that it seeps down to the lowest levels of the State Department that like.
But the lowest levels of the State Department are making the decisions on who to bomb and where we're gonna like kill innocent civilians.
The State Department doesn't decide that at all. The U.S. military decides that.
Which again, the people that control the commander in chief is a person who's on the take from fucking military.
You're talking about basically a tree with levels of hierarchy that number probably in the dozens. And at the very top of that tree, I agree with you. Maybe the direction is posed by somebody who, especially Donald Trump, but probably a lot of politicians. Maybe with the Secretary of State and maybe some top level appointments who are made by people up there. But to think that filters down and that the level of corruption goes down to the very lowest levels of the military, like who do you think decides who we kill in these strikes, man? It's like a probably first or second level officer.
I wouldn't think so. I think it'd be generals who decided what the military policy is for the U.S.
The policy, yes, but you're talking in a strike. Let's say they have intelligence about somebody an officer, probably like a second lieutenant, first lieutenant, a captain. Those are probably the ones that make the kill decisions.
I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into it, but I would say that
I am also guessing, but
I don't know that would be the case.
I'm saying they're so far removed from anyone who has any connection to money and politics.
That's the thing is that it goes from the top down. To argue anything goes from the bottom up it doesn't.
I'm not saying it goes from the bottom up, but I'm saying that the influence of money in politics guide general policy.
But the culture goes from the top down. So
the culture of money in politics does not infect the military.
Yeah, it 100% does. It 100%.
Money in politics. Explain to me. Okay.
Because the people that take the money are the people at the top. You have the people like the generals, and not only just the money in politics, but just the way that they see things. They've been in the military the whole time, and they think the best solution to any sort of problem is military.
I agree with you on that, but that's not money in politics at all.
It comes from some of it comes from money in politics because these people they vote for the military and hold up these military generals. They're endorsing these people and they are doing it because they get money from defense contractors. And so you have people like going on TV saying like, well, if we stop bombing, then like, oh, what are the military contractors going to do?
That's a completely moronic thing, and I've heard that before. But I mean, I think you're mixing up the upper level policy with like the implementation on the ground.
But I think the upper level policy dictates what's going to happen on the ground. Because if those people on the ground,
In a general sense, yeah, but on a specific level, no.
I don't see the big difference between those things. Because if those people on the ground say, okay, I'm not going to bomb this because like we might kill innocent civilians, then the people at the top can easily replace them. They can say, okay, well you don't want to just like indiscriminately bomb, and obviously it's not like that. Soy bien. It's not that like.
Of course it's not, man. They're not like, yeah, let's kill some civilians.
Yeah, they're obviously not like some of them are like they don't care. They demonize, and that's part of the culture, which is a little bit different from where people are getting money. But I think those two often are tied. But it's just like when you say these sorts of things, like, and then it's like, okay, well, you're not gonna do this bombing campaign, which the top wants. Okay, well then you're out of a fucking job.
Well, they're soldiers, so they are supposed to follow orders.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is so it comes from the
As
top.
long as
It comes from the top down. And
as
those
long as-
people are taking
as
money
long
from
as-
the defense contractors.
It's compatible with international law. I mean, no soldier is going to go kill a group of civilians.
But
few
we've
soldiers.
routinely killed innocent civilians.
Not deliberately. That's the thing, man. Collateral damage is like collateral damage, but
But that's like arguing for Trump or some of these politicians, and you're saying like, well, if they lied, but like we can't say that it had intent, so we can't say that they lied. It's just I feel like that's giving them way too much of a bone. You're just throwing them a bone. You're saying, okay, well, I guess like we don't know for sure that they did that, so we don't know what their intention was, so I guess it's okay.
it's not saying it's okay. I think collateral damage absolutely needs to be minimized, but collateral damage is not. It's not a military crime.
I feel like it is, and
I mean, it's not. It's on the law books. It's not.
okay, but what I'm saying is I think that it should be,
you think the collateral damage should be a crime.
especially if it happens to the degree which that it happens with the U.S. There's so many civilians that we kill. We kill way too many civilians, and these are not why are we in these wars? Again, we can push for intervention. We can push for, okay, we think this, and so we're going to give you money. We're going to give you money for this, or we're going to push a propaganda campaign.
I get your point, but I think these issues, man, most of these conflicts are so nuanced. It's really easy to like sit back here and be like, they didn't fucking try anything, and they're just like influenced by the military-industrial complex, and they don't give a shit, and they're fucking massacring civilians, and why are they there?
But so what does it benefit us to do these sorts of things?
Probably like 7 out of those 8 conflicts, we're not doing it for our specific interests. We're doing that in support of an ally.
If those allies are under direct threat of invasion or attack, I don't think we should be involved in it.
Are or not?
Say what?
You said they all. I mean, okay.
I said if they're not under direct threat of attack.
Most of these are with terrorist organizations right now. That's the ones
No.
we're involved in.
So are you saying which allied governments are you saying that are under threat of attack from these countries in the Middle East?
Mali, let's say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's just an example.
So we put guards on the border and then we just protect them.
What are you talking about? You're talking about Mali. You're talking about a country like the size of Mexico, filled with empty desert. Which border?
What do you think that we should do?
This is what I'm saying. Okay, 7 out of 8 times we're helping another one, but usually with these conflicts, I mean, there's no real better option. You either do nothing, which is not what government is. Government is not good at doing nothing. If you ask them to solve a problem, they're gonna solve it, and one of the best ways they know how is to use military force. Like it or not, that's what government's gonna do, man. Because that's one of the tools in their very small toolbox. Like sending the foreign service and using military force and money. Those are basically the three things they know how to do.
I would say then focus it on money, because it kills a lot less people. My argument would be,
Okay, so you have a government like Mali, one of the most corrupt in the world, basically, who can't protect their own people from. It's not Al Shabaab. Who is it? Boko Haram. Terrorist groups just roaming around the desert, basically, raping and massacring. So what's the best option? In this situation? I mean, we can go through like a step-by-step analysis of each of these, and we'd probably come to the same conclusion that these are horrible, effed up situations, but there's probably no good option. The military not being a good one either, but being an option and the one they chose.
I would say if you're gonna send in the military, then put special forces on the ground.
That's what we've been doing. In Mali, that's basically the only thing we've had there, special forces.
Then in those sorts of cases, if you want to put special forces on the ground and you're gonna monitor them, and if they do something fucked up like kill a bunch of civilians,
Well, they haven't killed a bunch of civilians.
that's what I'm not saying they did. I don't exactly know what the situation in Mali is, but that's what I'm saying.
That's one of the ones that you mentioned one of these previous times.
No,
What these
no,
countries
no.
were involved in. You're talking about all these illegal wars.
The illegal wars that we're in, that would not be one of the main ones, I would say. But anyway, putting special forces troops on the ground is probably the best way we can handle it.
That's exactly what.
But that's not what we do in a lot of cases. We either give weapons to people who are basically like state-sponsored terrorists, like Saudi Arabia, or what we do is we just all ourselves indiscriminately do bombing campaigns, and those are the biggest problems I have with the government intervention. But even that, I think we need to do it in a protectionist sense. I think we need to protect those governments and try to foster democracy, but I don't know that's what we do a lot of the time.
It's a fair critique, but
Yeah, I mean, of course it's a very nuanced thing. I don't think it's easy thing to solve these sorts of problems. I don't think these are easy problems, but to just say, well, what are we gonna do? Okay, well, usually what we do is we send the military in, so let's just like send.
I'm
a bunch of
explaining
bombers
it. I'm
in.
not saying this is right. I'm saying that's what typically takes place.
That's fair, but I don't think necessarily what typically takes place is the right thing. So that's what I'm saying is we need to.
And I'm saying in a lot of these circumstances, there's often no real better option. Not always. In a lot of cases, I don't think we just randomly like select military and just like go in and kill everybody. I mean, it just ends up leading towards that path, and it's bad. But the world's a bad place sometimes.
The world is often a bad place, but I don't think that would lead me to believe that we should just allow for indiscriminate bombing.
Oh no, I agree with you, and you use the word indiscriminate. Man. I don't think that I agree that the U.S. military can probably be careless, but I don't think it's fair to describe their action as indiscriminate bombing. They're not like carpet bombing cities.
Not anymore.
They're usually
Not anymore.
We're talking about them with the Vietnam War.
Yeah. But yeah, and of course but the thing is I don't think that the degree to which the technologies has developed has increased. Okay, so with the amount that our technology has increased since in terms of the past, I don't think that the amount of civilians that we kill is acceptable. I don't think any civilians killed is acceptable, but of course, like, so you want to talk about like Vietnam. Vietnam was a disaster. Like, we carpet bombed cities. Again, like you said, we napalmed villages, innocent civilians, and that's why you have people that still hate the U.S. and Vietnam right now. But you're obviously going to have an amount of people that like dislike the U.S. But with the technology that we have now, we should be killing almost no civilians.
It's gotten a lot more complicated though, because Well, okay, this started with Vietnam, and this was one of the problems. It's gone from front warfare to basically guerrilla warfare. There's basically not a single army in the world that we fight. We fight individual civilians wrapped in villages, basically.
Yeah.
So how do you target them with and
So that's what I'm saying is we shouldn't be bombing. We shouldn't be bombing.
so
those
how
people.
so what do you do?
Unless you have like a complex where they're like training quote unquote terrorists or something like that. Then if you want to bomb a site like that where you have said, we know for a fact that this is like a terrorist training ground, let's
Okay.
bomb it.
It's-
That's fine. But
it's not
we
that
cannot we cannot be bombing cities. You cannot be bombing wedding parties. You
Can I
cannot
give
be
you an
doing
example, okay?
Mhm.
Because of sometimes wedding parties, I'm sure that's not deliberate. Let's say the United States.
But I would disagree, but okay.
You say we deliberately bomb wedding parties?
We've bombed wedding parties
deliberately.
before.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It was deliberate.
As far as I understand the situation, it was deliberate.
That doesn't sound accurate to me, because the threat of collateral damage would probably be too high for that to be legal.
Okay.
Anyway, let me give you an example. The United States in the initial war in Afghanistan was supposed to support the central government, secure the country. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You accept that premise. So let's say that you had a terrorist. Okay, you had whatever a Taliban member who had previously attacked like a Afghan government base or something like that. Afghan government something. Okay, and they were not held up. You had evidence that they were in a village. You know, not 100% conclusive. Let's say 90%, 80%. Okay, and they're in a house. So you have an 80% chance that if you bomb the house, you'll kill the guy. If you decide not to act, then it's possible that he will commit a bombing attack and destroy somebody, kill other people. So what do you do in that circumstance? Or basically,
I would wait until you're 100% certain.
what if, but there's the risk then that he turns around, let's say a high risk, that he turns around and the next day, if you don't get him, that he's going to do a bombing and kill civilians. So either...
What I would say is, if you don't know for sure, then you send special forces in.
You can't send special forces to
Why not?
every single house that you...
We absolutely could. We have a huge fucking military, man. Send special forces in. You go in like a SWAT team, and we have SWAT teams in the U.S. that are basically like Army Rangers. You bust into that house and you arrest everyone in there, and you say, "Okay, what are you doing?" Because if the government says that you should be in there, then okay, we're gonna help you guys do it, and we're gonna arrest everyone in there, and we're gonna say, "What's going on?
Okay,
Are you the guy?"
Here's the problem with that. Okay, that most of these places in Afghanistan, for instance, are mountainous and they have tunnels basically. So you try and send a helicopter over, they'll just go in the tunnels and they'll disappear. You try and send someone over the hills, and they have lookouts, and they'll probably get shot on the way over, or ambushed by a guerrilla unit.
I feel like the U.S. Army versus a guerrilla unit is a joke.
If that was the case, then why the fuck did we do so badly against the Taliban? And why are we still losing against the Taliban? If the U.S. is so fucking good against guerrilla forces, then why have we lost every fucking guerrilla conflict we've had?
But that's another reason why you don't start wars in other countries that we have no fucking business being in.
After the fact, I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying is I don't think we should really be in
I'm
these
saying,
wars anyway.
but you're going outside of the topic. I'm saying in this situation.
I wouldn't bomb it. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I'm not gonna blow. If I have a 10%, if I have a 1% chance that it's not the guy I'm going for, I'm not bombing that.
There's the 80.
I'm not taking the chance of killing an innocent
So
civilian.
there's an 80% chance that he's in the house, and that nobody else is in the house, and there's an 80% chance at the same time that if you don't kill him, he's going to kill 30 civilians tomorrow in a terrorist attack. So you would pick the 20% chance of killing maybe 2 or 3 people in the house over the 80%
Then
chance.
if you have that monitor over that guy and you know that this
I'm
sort
just
of
giving you an example.
I know, but I'm
Just
saying
like a thought
if you
experiment.
have the monitor over this person and you have that sort of statistics, then watch him. And if you know that it's that guy,
That's what I'm saying. This is just a thought experiment. Like, don't try and operate outside of it. What would you choose?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it.
Because again, you can't just say like, would you do this or would you not?
That's the point of a thought experiment.
But that's thought experience. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. I have problems with thought experiments because I think they're bullshit. Like I don't think that is like solving anything. I think you look at the real world actuality. Just so if you have that sort of information on this guy, then you should be able to watch him walk out of his house. And if it's that guy, then it's that guy. And the amount of facial recognition software that we have right now, you should be able to recognize his face. And if it's that guy, then you fucking snipe him out of a helicopter. Then you put him down. You drop a guy a fucking 2 kilometers away. You drop him 2 clicks away, and you have him snipe that guy. Then kill him, and then he's done. And if he calls for the hit, then you should be able to intercept that radio transmission. The amount of power that the U.S. has, we should be
you vastly overestimate it, man. First of all, helicopters can't operate in like half of Afghanistan because of the mountainous territory. They have nowhere to fucking land. Not only that,
you were the one that said like you helicopter over that. But okay, but even if you don't do that, like I don't know, I'm not okay with just indiscriminately bombing civilians.
I'm not saying again. You keep bringing this word up, and I think it doesn't mean anything because it's not the actual case. Show me a case where the U.S. indiscriminately bombed a group of civilians. They're just like, fuck it, let's just kill this group of civilians.
I think that they're too wantonly bombing. I don't think that's the thing.
That's not indiscriminate.
Okay, I don't think the top tier of the U.S. military gives a fucking shit about people on the ground in Yemen. They think they're fucking brown people that they don't give a fuck about.
The U.S. That's not the U.S. That's Saudi, man.
Move to another country. Move to fucking Afghanistan.
Okay.
Anywhere where the U.S. has a fucking power. Iraq. The U.S. The fucking top people, they don't give a shit about brown people. And some of those people are racist and some of those people are not. They don't give a fuck, man. Why would they care? Why would they care about any of these people?
Okay, if everything that the U.S. military does is on record, if they kill a civilian...
But who looks at that record?
What do you mean everything gets declassified, man? You can go and look up...
But no one looks at it.
Yeah.
The amount of people that look at that record is literally like less than 1% of the U.S. population.
There are historians that have poured through
everything. But you can say historians pour through that.
And then they go and find the cases where people did this shit, man. And then they put books about them. Are you kidding me?
How many people have read... No. I'm not disagreeing with you on that aspect. But how many people have read books, history books?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they go and make cases and basically... They can accuse people 20, 30 years after the fact of committing war crimes.
When's the last time someone got tried for a fucking war crime?
Not tried, but it will destroy... I mean, it can destroy their life later.
I don't think people get tried for war crimes anymore, man.
I just said they don't get tried, but it can still destroy their life.
It can... But if you already have money, it's not going to destroy your life.
If you had an honorable career in the military and like the last 10 years of your life are stained by
someone tries you for war crimes, but no one fucking hears about it. It doesn't matter.
What are you talking about? I'm saying no trial. I'm saying,
but that's what I said. Is no one hears about it.
No, everyone hears. Man, like
when is the last time you heard about a fucking person getting tried for war crimes?
That's what I'm saying. There's no trial, man.
Okay, so when's the last time you... Henry Kissinger is a fucking war criminal. No, the last time you heard fucking someone talk about Henry Kissinger in a negative light.
Some of these people from the Vietnam War, man, they basically write books accusing some of these people of doing things. And then, what do you think happens? Journalists come to their fucking house, like their neighbors, their family. Everyone knows that they committed war crimes.
Can you name one of those person's names?
No, I can.
Exactly. So it doesn't. No, exactly. I know.
I don't know it, but their family knows it. Their neighbors know it. They know it.
But if
their spouse knows it,
I know.
Their lives are stained.
I get your point, but if they have money, why do those people care? I don't think those people care. I don't think they give a fuck. I get your point. I get your point. It's not that they're untouched by it. They're not untouched by it.
I don't think money is the most important thing either, man.
But people that are corrupt do. Look at Donald Trump. his name has been stained. It's
Donald
been run
Trump is a
through.
very particular example.
I don't think that he's special, man. I think he's the epitome. He's the archetype for these rich fucks that don't give a shit about anything else but just have money.
Anyway, let's go back to the point that I still disagree that I get what you're saying, that maybe some people don't care about killing civilians that much, but I think that the majority is not like that. I think that the majority doesn't want to kill civilians.
All right, so what do you mean by most people aren't in favor of?
See, most enlisted soldiers, even most officers, whatever, they're morally opposed to killing civilians.
In some ways, I would agree with you, but in some ways, I would disagree because I know people that have been in the military, and like it's similar to the police force, and the culture that they create is this idea that like these people are against us and they're not human. It's a dehumanization. It's dehumanization.
The enemies.
So I don't.
Why would a woman or a child be the enemy?
Because they're all the enemies. Look at Vietnam. They would say like, oh, these women. They'll just be like, oh, I'm a woman, and then they blow you up.
Because that was the case back then.
Are there not women suicide bombers now?
In Afghanistan, there have been almost zero cases. There's not very many, at least. Very infrequent.
But that doesn't mean they don't get killed in the bomb strikes. I mean, there's strikes that kill women and children. Like, a lot of the innocent civilians that we kill are women and children. Look at the border crisis right now. A lot of the people that are coming are women and children. We don't care. We fucking tear gas them. And I don't think a lot of the people in the U.S. would care if we fucking shot and killed them. That's my thing is...
I don't know about that at all, man. I think that's a wild speculation.
It's not a wild speculation. Shot and killed, maybe. But we literally just tear gassed a lot of women and children at the border.
Were they storming the fence?
No. Most of them weren't. But you can say that, like, oh, okay, there were 500 people there and, like, 30 of them stormed the fence and we tear gassed them. And I would say close to 30-40% of Americans don't give a shit. And if they don't give a shit, 30 or 40...
I honestly, and this issue, I think that, like, bringing your children to a border fence when people are storming the fence, I mean, if you see somebody storming the fence, you should...
These people are literally facing death in their own country. I don't give a
Some of them, yeah.
A lot of them.
This is why we have the refugee system in place.
But we're not following it. Donald Trump doesn't care about the fucking rule of law. He doesn't give a shit about that stuff.
Donald Trump doesn't control the refugee immigration court system. So it doesn't fucking matter what Donald Trump is doing.
He does because he put troops on the border.
He put troops on the other fucking side of the border to put up barbed wire fences.
He put troops on the border. They fucking tear gas these people.
First of all, the troops didn't the troops are not allowed to tear gas people.
Did people not just get tear gassed?
Yeah, by police forces. That has nothing to do with the troops.
But either way, they're preventing people from seeking asylum.
100% rhetorical, man. First of all, they're not preventing people from seeking asylum.
Yes, they are.
Who?
They're de facto. If you're tear gassing
relax.
If you're tear gassing someone,
the proper way for them to go and apply for asylum is they need to go to the border and
they
file asylum paperwork, not climb over the fence.
Most of them did try to go to the border. They tried to go to the border.
I know,
but they got tear gassed. So if you go in a group of 500, one person climbs to the border, they tear gas you.
One person. From what I understood, basically they were rioting along the border. And then some people stormed the fence.
They held them there for 10 days. They were not processing these people. And then it was like 30
First of all, they didn't hold them at the border. Half of them were staying at the beach. There were a number of shelters throughout the city that they said they were going to slowly process them because they couldn't process all the paperwork.
Because they're slowing it down. They can process these people way faster. They're processing like 40 people a day. That's absurd.
Yeah, that's probably deliberately slowed. I agree with that.
Exactly. So and then you.
So they go to the border and riot.
Like it was very close. Like maybe 5 to 10% of these people rioted, and then you're gonna tear gas women and children. You're in favor of tear gassing women and children.
This is a
Arrest the people that are jumping.
straw man argument,
no.
Jordan.
No,
that's
no.
a false rhetorical equivalent.
Arrest the people that are coming over the border. If they're jumping over the border, you have the military there. You can arrest those people. Arrest them. Cool. Yeah. If you're trying to jump over the fence,
I wasn't
arrest
there.
them.
Let's look at a video. Let's see what happened there. Because right now we're just speculating. I wasn't there. I didn't see the circumstances. You said 5 to 10%. What are you basing that off of?
From every report I've heard.
Okay, show me one. Let's see, man. Let's watch the video instead of just guessing and speculating.
It's not guessing and speculating, man. It's reading fucking articles. I don't even know what I should search.
There's a tear gas, U.S. border. What's happening here? Okay, so it started with the Mexican police. Yeah, if this is the case, I mean, maybe there's a gap in the video here. But if that's the case, if they just used it against a bunch of people standing at the border fence, then yeah, that's inappropriate, flat out.
Also, they shut down the border crossing.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, and I think that's also an inappropriate step.
So 5,000 immigrants have spent 10 days. There's no reason why you can't process.
What's the
this
gap in
report.
video? Because apparently, again, this is slightly biased. Well, the reports that I read were the same that you read, that people were trying to storm the border fence, and this video completely does not show
There
that.
was like people trying to storm the border fence were like an excessive minority. That's what I'm
like
saying.
40 to 50 people out of
40 to 50 people out of like 5,000.
yeah.
So that's
Out of 5,000 people
that's like
in the
1%.
city.
That's like 1%. That's 1%.
In the city. But you saw there was only like 100 people there.
It said 5,000 people are trying to cross the border.
in the city. There's not 5,000 people in that crowd, man. 5,000 people. There's no way. 5,000 people in the city, man. First of all, I read the entire caravan isn't 5,000 people. So I don't know what that number is coming from. This is just about tear gas.
Yeah.
This doesn't show us anything.
So, but yeah, that's what I would say.
This is in Phoenix. This picture being used against protesters.
What I would say is, I don't know. I just don't think that there's any reason to be fucking tear gassing people.
It's used to get people to disperse, I guess.
But okay, but think about the amount of people. We put a fucking military base on there.
Whoa, you keep saying that. The military is not allowed to interact
But
with.
we put them on there, and Donald Trump
You
said
didn't
that they
put them
could.
on there. They're sitting in bases, man.
Trump put them on the border,
You keep
and
saying that. Trump says he put them on. Where are they? Show me where they
they
are.
put.
them where on the border? Jordan, the border.
Jesus Christ, man! Are you fucking kidding me?
The border is 1,000 miles long, man. Where are they on the border? Are they in Tijuana? They're definitely not.
No, they're not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They put them in the Arizona border, fucking 700 miles away from
Because
this.
Trump is a fucking idiot.
No, because the one has nothing to do with the other. They're absolutely unrelated.
How are they unrelated?
Because the troops are in Arizona, a state away. They're not fucking there, man.
I know they're not fucking there,
so
man.
why do you keep bringing up the troops being
What I'm
there?
saying is that Trump puts these people on the fucking border and says that they're going to protect the U.S.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I
Yeah,
agree
of
with
course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What does that have to do with the tear gas?
So why are you tear gassing people? We have police. We have a fucking inordinate amount of police. And we have border
Those were
patrol.
Mexican police.
We have border patrol.
This-
we're no. We're
I've been to this crossing, Jordan.
Okay, go
This
ahead.
is an urban fucking crossing. There's not like police everywhere. They cross the fence and they're in the fucking middle of the city. There's no way to stop them.
You put fucking people on the border. That's a way to stop them. 40, 50 people.
The border is a
crossed.
fence between two urban areas.
They didn't even cross the fence. They rushed the fence.
Yeah.
So if they get over that, which they're probably not going to get over a fucking
If
fence.
they get over it, then they're in the middle of the next fucking city.
And what you think they're gonna just like murder a bunch of people? They're not fucking out there to like kill people.
I agree with you.
So why fucking disperse a bunch of tear gas into fucking women
That's
and
what
children?
tear gas is for, is to disperse people. They didn't put
Then drop it on
chlorine
the
gas.
But they shot it into the fucking crowds. You can drop it on the fucking border fence. Why
Is
are
that
you
not what
shooting?
they did?
No, they
They put
shot it into the middle of people.
The crowd was along the border fence, was it not? The picture showed a crowd of people along the border fence and tear gas coming out from in the middle of the crowd of people.
They shot it into they indiscriminately shot it into a crowd of people outside of the border fence. A lot of them were.
That's not the video that I just saw.
Really?
I just saw a group of people standing at the border and a pile of smoke coming
Yeah,
out from the middle of that group of people standing at the border fence.
Close to it. So you
Within 5 feet of the border fence. There's no way that bomb was dropped more than 15 feet from the border fence. It doesn't matter, man.
okay? So it doesn't matter. So you're just saying that it doesn't matter.
I'm saying it's appropriate. I'm saying,
I disagree.
do you think the border should be open? What the fuck?
No, of course the border shouldn't be open, but
So what should they do? If
these people are seeking fucking asylum, if they're fucking jumping over the border fence, it's a fucking fence. If they're fucking climbing over it, that takes a lot of fucking time. Were those people ripping through the fence with fucking bolt cutters? No.
I didn't see what they were doing, man. They cut out the video.
Exactly. So fucking, if you want to do that, you have guns. These people don't have guns.
So you're saying they should wait till they cross and then shoot them?
No, don't fucking twist my
Then
fucking words.
why are you saying that using guns is better than using tear gas?
You point a fucking gun at them. Don't shoot them. Don't shoot them. No.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're saying that they're in fear of their lives. So you're saying that pointing a gun at them is a better idea than using tear gas. You're contradicting, like, they use the...
I don't think you do...
You don't point a gun at someone unless you intend to shoot at them, man. If you're a fucking...
Then you fucking pull a gun out. You don't have to fucking point it at them. But you say, hey, you guys are trying to cross the border fence. No, like, you can't do that. And then you fucking tackle them. You do whatever you're gonna do. You're a fucking police officer. You should be trained for this shit.
My whole point is that if they cross that border crossing, there's no way to tackle them. They're in the fucking city, man.
No, that's absurd. There's no way to tackle them. You can see them. What are you talking about?
Isn't it... Okay, first of all, that border fence crosses beach, crosses mountains, crosses public streets, crosses...
So
buildings.
you cross the fence and you're invisible?
It's... You know how easy it is to disperse. That's what I'm trying to say, man.
But there are fucking 40 fucking people. You don't think we have fucking 40 fucking people across the other side of the fence? And if not, then they're fucking ill prepared.
I don't understand what your point is. Let them cross?
No, you say if they're trying to cross, you say you don't get to cross.
What do you think they were doing on the other side of that fence? Just like being like, hey
And then
guys.
and if they cross,
Hey,
then
guys.
if they cross, then you tackle them. You don't fucking lob tear gas into the middle of fucking people who are basically waiting there and have been waiting there 10 fucking days.
They weren't waiting there 10 days.
They were.
They were waiting in the city for 10 days. They came to the border. He just said that. He came to the border.
A lot of them have been waiting to be processed for 10 or more days.
In the city, not at the border. They're not. They can't just like live at the border. They don't live there, man.
But people have been trying to get processed. They're only processing like 40,
So they're protesting.
40 or 50 people a day.
Yeah, so they're protesting alongst the border fence, and that pissed off the Americans.
So you lob fucking tear gas into them?
That's what the police do to protesters, man. It's not new shit.
But they shouldn't do that. I'm not
Ever?
I'm saying you shouldn't. No, never.
Okay, well then we're in disagreement, man. That's a riot control tool.
For people that are protesting,
That's
you should be able to protest anything you want. It's fucking free speech, and it's not even on your side of the border. You don't have any control over how they protest. Then you should fucking say, okay, we don't like how you're protesting. Cool, you get to have that fucking opinion.
Okay, I get what you're saying. The thing is, the border is a restricted area. You're not allowed to go near the border fence. That's a standard of rule in every fucking country in the world. You can't just like walk up to a border fence.
You should be able to. It's not your fucking country. It's not your fucking country. You don't get to determine how they get to fucking protest on the other side of a border fence. That's fucking absurd.
Okay, first of all, the border fence is usually put 100 feet back from the border, so that technically is American land. Second of all, that's the standard rule, man, because they don't want people interfering with the fence. They don't want people passing contraband across. You're not allowed to approach a border fence.
If you're watching the fucking border fence, no one's passing contraband across that. That's a bullshit argument.
This is a rule in almost every single country in the world.
It's fucking bullshit, man. You can't be lobbing fucking tear gas into the middle of fucking women and children.
If women and children were in that giant like crowd of people that were up against the border fence, then they shouldn't have been there, honestly.
Okay.
Man, you saw that group of people. That was a mosh pit.
But there are videos of women and children getting tear gas.
I agree with you. Probably
because they fucking marched 2,000 fucking miles because they're under threat of like getting murdered and they want to have a fucking due process. And the thing that like the Americans should be doing is saying, okay, we're gonna process your fucking refugee status.
Okay, so their refugee status is not getting processed. So the best thing for them to do is evade Mexican police and go up illegally to the border fence.
To say, hey, can you fucking check me out? Like, I'm a fucking woman with a child here.
Who are they protesting to? Do you think the people were just like standing on the fence?
Do you
being
think
like,
that these-
oh, they look angry. We gotta process them faster.
What did they think they were gonna do, man? What do you think?
They're trying to make a point. I think these
point
people
for
are.
who though?
I think
Who's
they're trying to make
watching
a point for themselves because they don't fucking understand this. They don't even speak the. A lot of these people probably don't even speak the fucking language.
Well, they all speak Spanish.
Exactly, but they don't speak the language in the U.S. They're saying, "Hey, man, look at me. Like I'm a fucking innocent civilian," and then you get a fucking tear gas can lobbed in your fucking face. What do you think these people are fucking doing? What are you talking about? They're saying, "Hey, can you help me?" Like, and then they get tear gas lobbed in their face because someone's jumping over the fence, and no one got into the U.S. None of those people got in the U.S.
Yeah.
They're launching fucking tear gas behind these people that are trying to. They didn't launch it at the fence. They launched it behind the fence.
They launched it through the holes in the fence.
So launch it at the fence. Launch it at the fence. Don't launch it behind the fence. Those fucking people are standing there trying to protest.
You need to, first of all, they're not allowed to protest there. That's international law. That's not an area where you're allowed to protest.
Why?
I just explained because they're not allowed to be there because you're not allowed to pass contraband, and they're afraid that people will interfere with the structure of the fence.
So
this is the same thing that happened
they
in Israel.
should be. Yeah, and I think.
And people got shot.
Yeah, and they fucking killed journalists at the fucking at the fucking fence too, and in Israel.
And
so
here in the
I
United
think
States,
both of
they
them.
shoot a couple cans of tear gas and people are still outraged.
They should be. That shit is outrageous.
Man, if you
And-
bring children and then you go around a police cordon and go to an illegal area where there are signs saying you're not allowed to be, you're a fucking shitty parent, flat out.
No, that's fucking bullshit, man. These people are fucking.
If you bring a
They're-
child and evade a police cordon, you're a shitty parent. You should not be protesting with a child.
These people are. A lot of these people. Like, it's not that they're like trying to like do a fucking protest like in America.
What the fuck were
it's
they
not
doing?
the
It's not
exact
that-
same thing. They're trying to say, hey man, like we're going to die if you send us back to our the fucking country
They're
we're from.
They're not lodging a formal complaint. They're going to an illegal restricted area around a police cordon. That's a protest.
Are
I've
these
ever
people?
heard it.
These are fucking poor people. Do you expect them to go to know the exact way that they should protest?
The police told them stop, and then they went around the fucking police. You think they know?
You think they've been treated well by the police in their country? You think they understand like how police should treat them?
This is the country where they're living, where they're staying right now.
For a couple days. Like they've been marching 2,000 miles. Do you think these people understand like what's going on? They're just saying like
You're
Yo,
giving them so many benefits of the doubt, man.
yeah,
And
as you should. They're fucking these people could die at any point, and if you send them
How
back,
could they die right now? They're in Mexico. And
Mexico is a very violent state. You don't think they could die at any point in Mexico? Absolutely, they could die in Mexico.
They could die in America.
Yeah, but the place that they're coming from, they don't understand. Like, obviously they could die anywhere. You could die anywhere. Yeah, I could die tomorrow. I'm driving my fucking scooter.
The violence rates in Tijuana are comparable to most U.S. cities. Honestly, they're not gonna die from.
Tijuana is kind of a fucking violent place, but yeah, okay, you can make that argument. But like,
They're not.
do
in
you think
they're in a
they're
safe
up to
place.
date? You think they're up to date on the statistics of violence in each fucking place? No, absolutely not. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They're just trying to fucking protect their children, and they're just coming to the border and saying, "Hey, can you let us fucking in? Can you fucking process us? Like, we heard that we can get like refugee status. Can you fucking just check us out? Like, we didn't do anything. I'm a fucking mother. I
get what you're saying, but they're doing it. They're protesting in an illegal area. Like you.
Do you think? But that's what I'm saying. Do you think they understand that?
Yes, the police said stop, and they went around them. So.
But that's what I'm saying. The police in their country.
On
do
one
you
hand,
think-
you're arguing that they don't know, and on the other hand, you're arguing that they don't fucking care, and those are not the same thing. If you
What I'm arguing is that they don't understand.
if you disobey police orders who have riot gear on them, and you don't think you're protesting, I don't know what the fuck you think you're
No,
doing.
what I'm saying is the regulations in their country may be different from other countries, and regardless,
decked out in all black with riot gear, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen if you go around them?
they literally can get murdered by gangs in their country. Like, these countries are controlled. A lot of them, including Mexico, are in a lot of areas controlled by gangs. And it doesn't matter what the police tell you, because the fucking gangs might murder you anyway. So they're doing everything that they can to get across the border. They're just saying, like, I don't want to die. These people are in this state where they're just saying, I just don't want to die.
I get what you're saying, that they're desperate, but they're making poor decisions. And maybe
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, how can you make a decision when you don't understand? Like,
anyway, tear gas has never killed. As far as I know, tear gas has not killed anyone in this conflict.
I don't.
In
In this conflict, maybe.
I don't
but
think it's ever killed anyone. Period, except like some very weak people, like people with like pre-existing
people
health
with
conditions.
fucking asthma or something. But that's the thing is, so should we just every time we feel like we're slightly unsafe, we should just launch tear gas?
We do anyways, man. That's what
But
America.
that doesn't make it right. Just because we do it doesn't make it right. It's the same thing with bombing indiscriminately in other countries. Does that make it right? Oh, we bomb in Saudi. We bomb in Yemen, and that's okay. We just do it. That's what we do. That's not an argument.
I get what you're saying. The United States, and this context, it looks like whoever launched those thought that these people were going to try and storm the border fence, which, however many people they had on the other side of the fence, it would have been a disaster. And if they had crossed the fence, I guarantee you, every single one of those people would have lost their jobs.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone that launched the tear gas is, at any case, like potentially losing their jobs.
I think if they decided not to launch the tear gas and those people did cross, how many people do you think were standing on the other side of the fence there? 15? 20? Versus what, like 80 fucking people? Let's say they didn't. I agree with you. Yeah, maybe they climbed it slow. What if they like just punched a hole through the fence and started streaming through? 200, 300 fucking people.
But then that's the same thing. If you
Against
point a
20
gun, you
people.
pointed a gun at those
But
people.
that's way worse than using tear gas, man. Because half the time,
Shoot a fucking tear gas canister at that hole in the wall. Is
Yeah,
that how?
through the hole in the wall.
No.
People will just cover
If they're trying to bust a hole in the wall, then shoot a tear gas canister at that hole. Or
They'll just
where
kick
the
it. Tear can. They just kick the fucking can away, man.
so then how is that different from what happened already?
That's exactly what happened. They probably
No, a lot of
They
people.
just dispersed. They just walked away and nothing happened. Nobody got hurt.
But that's what you're saying is your argument is.
What I'm saying is, if they waited until they actually made a hole and then they shot it through, the people would have kicked the can and ran through.
So shoot before they can cut a hole. You shoot a canister at the fucking border.
The point
fence.
is, they didn't want them to cut through in the first place.
So shoot it at the border fence. Don't shoot it at fucking in the middle of a bunch of people.
Tear gas is only useful against people. So you're saying shoot it on the other side of the fence?
No, I'm saying if they're gonna run up to the fence, shoot it there.
But
Don't shoot it.
let's go back to the
dude,
video because the video, as far as I could tell, man, there was a group of people bundled up against the fence, and it looked like it was in that crowd of people. I didn't know you were so anti-tear gas. Okay, let's try and see where the tear gas is first. Okay, so they saw this before they went around this cordon. Okay, so where's the gas?
It's like
Is that not the fence?
it's on the other side of the fence. Yeah.
Where's the fence, man? It's not at all clear what's happening here.
Because the fucking New York Times sucks. Failing New York Times.
Yeah, exactly, man. Check YouTube, man. YouTube probably has better shit. Yeah, man. There's no clear video of where the fucking tear gas is.
You also have to remember that the fucking Mexican president is a fucking cuck right now. This looks like it's in the middle.
You sure that's tear gas? I see people standing right next to it, not moving. Anyway, we've learned nothing from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I don't think this is an immigration issue. I think we just disagree about the use of tear gas.
This is different. This is the same video from different angles.
see the gas, but where's the fence in relation to that? I saw that camera's in the middle.
I think it would just be these people have worked like what do you think they're coming into the country to do?
I don't think we just. I think that if they have valid asylum things, then that's fine.
I think
I
most
think
of
that
them,
has nothing to do with the tear gas. Tear gas is tear gas.
I think most of them probably do. I mean,
I would say probably less than half
They're-
do. Judging by those
why?
people.
Why?
Why?
Why do you feel that way?
I've looked at the numbers for how many cases are rejected. First of all,
I don't think that has anything to do with it. Why do you think that they're not valid?
I've looked at the court numbers and the asylum.
I
numbers.
don't think the court numbers have anything to do with it.
You don't think
It depends on the judges. It depends on the judges.
Yeah, I know, but if you can just look it up, man. You can,
No, but
Just
I think
Google it right
I
now.
think
You
you
can
could
look at the
you could
numbers.
say okay, well
you
if
can
I-
look at the different judge approval rates by judge. Just
yeah,
Google
there are judges that have 90% approval ratings, and there's judges that have like 30% approval
it.
ratings.
That's absolutely right.
So, do you think both of those judges are equally valid?
No, I think that probably is somewhere in between.
So what
probably-
do you think constitutes like a valid approval of a migrant?
A refugee claim that they need to be in fear for their lives. That's the UN definition.
I feel like if someone walks 2,000 fucking miles, then I would say okay, I've never walked fucking 2,000 miles anywhere. That's pretty fucking impressive. If you're gonna walk 2,000
Feats of strength are not qualifications to get U.S. citizenship.
man, if you're gonna walk 2,000 fucking miles,
Okay, so how about all the people in Congo who can't walk 2,000 miles? So just fuck them, right?
No, of course not.
So why do people from Guatemala, because they can walk 2,000 miles to the border, why should they get it? And people in Congo who have an ocean, oh, sorry, you can't do a feat of strength.
I don't.
So you don't get
You see, you're gonna fuck up your thing because, like, I would say we should admit them too.
So just let the entire world come to the United States. So what's the point of having the United States?
No, of course you can't just say everyone comes to the United States.
Okay, so how would you restrict it?
One, I would say, but the thing is my version of like what should be allowed is not going to be allowed. But
What's
if
your
it was
idea,
if it's up to me,
Yeah,
especially if we have any involvement in your conflict,
that's all 192 countries, Jordan. There's no.
then okay, then fucking all
Fine,
of
so
you.
let's just end the United States, right? Because if we have people from every country in the world, then the United States is gone.
Not necessarily.
If we open the United States to anyone who would come to the United States, the population would triple overnight, and it wouldn't be the same fucking country. It would be geographically the same, but nothing else would continue to exist.
Fair enough. I mean,
So
but
what's the point of having the United States? It would defeat the whole purpose of it for all those people who wanted to come. It would just be...
realistically, well, the thing is I don't know. I have a lot of problems in the United States, and in some ways, like anyway, what I would say is, if you're in fear of your life, you should be able to come to the United States.
You can come to any country that's refugee status. That's under the United
But
Nations
that's the thing is,
1967 agreement.
it doesn't happen.
Under law, it does. Under law, it's supposed to. That's why.
It's supposed to. The difference between does and supposed to is like very broad.
Well, you're talking about judicial discretion, basically. But for the most part, people who come to the United States border.
How do you determine what's for the most part though? I feel like you
Because
I feel like you believe in the United States too much.
No,
You say it's
I've looked
supposed to.
I've looked at Amnesty International's reports. Okay. The cases of people being turned away at the border by immigration officials when they should have been given an immigration trial and processed as asylum status are very far and few between. There are a few documented cases, but they're probably less than 100. And for the most part, people who come all the way there and then get turned away at the border usually will go to a local immigration attorney and they'll help them try to go again.
But the current situation is not that.
The current situation, I don't know.
The current Yeah,
Up
I
till
agree
now.
with you. I understand your point.
Guatemala is not significantly more dangerous than it was
But-
5 years ago. Okay, the current situation is just that because of all these caravans, people are getting more and more emboldened to try this. Guatemala is, if anything, statistically more safe than it was 2 years ago.
What I would argue is that if we encourage this sort of thing and say turn these people away, that what we'll encourage also in turn is that we'll say we shouldn't give a shit about these people.
We're not turning people away. Donald Trump is making it more difficult. No question.
That's turning people away.
It's not turning people away. It's saying that you have to wait to be processed. It's not turning.
But that means people will die. That means people will die.
Who's gonna die there? Who's gonna die there?
Those people are gonna. There are people that will die.
They're sitting in shelters, being given free food, free medical care, free water, free housing for months. Who's gonna die in those places?
Oh, there are people that will die. They're basically in desert. They're in like desert shelters. They're in like basically like.
Okay, no, you're talking about those people who are living in the tents. Those are not the shelters. Some people refuse to go to the shelters because they thought that they thought there was some kind of conspiracy or something like that. What they said that out of the migrant caravan, the majority of the people, something like 70% went to the shelters that the city had set up, and that another 20% refused to go to the shelter and decided to have makeshift camps that they set up. And that obviously caused problems because all the Mexican people who lived in these neighborhoods were like, we don't want a bunch of fucking people camping in our neighborhood. So if you heard about the clashes they had, there was actually violence between Mexicans and a lot of the migrants in these caravans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So most of the people are not sleeping in tents exposed. They're sleeping in buildings, in shelters. Most of the people. That's their choice to sleep in those tents.
I think it's fair for them to be afraid. Like I don't know. I don't understand like your.
Well, they're gonna be a lot more afraid when the fucking neighbors start attacking them.
But that's the thing is it's. How are they supposed to know? How are they supposed to know what's gonna happen to them?
I don't know, man. It's all gamble for them, I guess.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, I feel like it's pretty crass to just be like, yeah, well, fucking depends what like how they feel, you know.
Listen, somebody comes up to you, they say, welcome to the city. Here, you can stay in the shelter. We're going to give you food and medical care. I mean, if you don't want to take it, like, what can they do? They're not going to force them to stay in those places. So I don't understand what your point is. I get that they don't want to stay there, but nobody's forcing them either way. And if they want to stay in those tents, that's their choice too.
Are they giving them? You think they're giving them? They're just being like, okay, you come into our country and you're just gonna go. We're gonna give you free medical care.
They have clinics. The country is not providing it. I seriously doubt the country is providing it, but they're
So who's providing it?
volunteers. Who do you think is providing the shelter care? I mean, the food and stuff like that. A lot of this is offered by volunteers and rights groups and stuff like that.
So is that even throughout? And all again, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would be. That's good. I think that people should do that sort of thing, but I would also be skeptical. I feel like I would be skeptical of that, and because people are the other country that you're trying to get into is like lobbing tear gas at you. So I don't know. I'm just saying.
Hey man, they're the ones who wanted to come to the United States. The United States didn't tell them to come. They could have made asylum claims in Mexico too.
Yeah, that's something that I agree with, and I think
They decided to come to the United States, the country whose president has made clear that they don't want them.
that's one thing that I would agree with. Is I would say these people shouldn't be so gung ho to come to America, because America has a track record of treating these people like shit, and we've done it for years and years and years. And so what I would say is, yeah, but Mexico's president hasn't been great either. So I don't know. It's not an easy position. And again, look at all the people that fucking voted for Trump. Like, you can call them fucking dumb pieces of shit, or you can call them like uninformed and things like that. But it's just because of the political reality of this of what we have going on right now. So I don't know. That's my thing. It's just like, yeah, I would call those people like uninformed, but I wouldn't call all of them stupid.
I think we've gone way off the rails.
Yeah, probably. We've probably gone off the rail.
We can stop probably like 45 minutes.
No, we can never stop.
No, I mean, you should cut it out probably.
No, I'm not gonna cut it out. You all have heard this. This is what we're doing. Alright. Yeah, but, yep, alright. We'll continue this conversation later. And, what ridiculous, like, what, very, I'm trying to make, like, a lot of, like, complaints that, like, will be, like, very, I want to be very controversial.
Why?
Because I just want to continue this on. You know what?
I don't know if we're getting any closer to the truth though.
Yeah, I mean we'll argue forever. All right. Anyway, we'll end it for now for the sake of peace and love and whatnot. So, all right. We appreciate everyone listening. Hope everyone likes, comments, subscribes, all that blah 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 blah. Because we have like 6 listeners right now.
How do you know?
No, of course I don't know. We may have close to 20 or 40, but I don't know. So, but no one pretty much shares our podcast, so it's pretty low on that end. But we appreciate anyone that actually does listen, and it's fun. So whatever, I don't know. If people don't like it, we would actually like to, I would like to hear critiques too. So it is what it is. But we appreciate it if you do like podcasts, and we would super appreciate it if you would just like give us a rating, either on our Facebook page or on your favorite podcast app. So, and then share is a huge thing. But either way, we appreciate you guys listening, and we love you guys. And so let us know what you think, and we'll podcast tomorrow. Are we podcasting tomorrow? The answer is yes. I already didn't say anything, but I decided we're podcasting tomorrow. So we'll talk to you soon.